just is what it is, guys. We've been super busy lately, but let's see who we already got up in here, man. In the name of Jesus, I pray that each and every single one of you savages have enjoyed your Saturday so far. To be 100% honest, guys, today I tried to catch up on a lot of the stuff that I haven't been able to do during the week, and I have been really super excited to try this cinnamon milk literally all day. We've been looking forward to this review. So before we even get started, guys, okay, and we're going to re-chat here in just a second, let me go ahead and pick up a bottle of water, and we're just going to straight up get into it. We already got a decent sized doobie of this cinnamon milk twisted up. If you guys have never seen the reviews before tonight, you might not know how we do things here, guys, so we're typically going to try and cover and go over every single thing that you can possibly go over when it comes to doing a strain review. So when it comes to Clutch Cannabis's flower, and if you guys are unaware, all the cookie stuff that is sold in the state of Ohio, okay, it's Cookies Genetics, but it's grown by the company Clutch Cannabis, essentially. And if you guys know who Clutch Cannabis is, then you know why I get super excited to try the cookies from Ohio. Now, I'll just go ahead and say it like this and break it down on this level, right? For anybody who's never seen any of my marijuana reviews, okay? When it comes to cookies versus the original Clutch line, just from the stuff that I have tried in the past, right, in my humble opinion, okay, a lot of the strains from cookies that I've tried, I've actually liked quite a bit, if I'm being honest. But when you compare and contrast to the original Clutch Genetics, I think overall, in terms of the consistency and especially the overall terpene profile and like the overall percentage of how loud and potent the flavor is, in my humble opinion, guys, the original Clutch stuff is usually a little bit terpier than the cookie stuff. But I've had some of the stuff from the cookies lineup in genetics that blew my wig back, dude. If any of you savages remember the Blue Suede review, savage army, bro. Now listen, before we even get into this, I'm going to tell you guys right now, out of any of the strains I've tried from Cookies Ohio, this one right here, in the way that it looks in terms of the bag appeal and just the overall like structure and color of the flower itself, and then when it comes to the aroma, is probably the closest thing next to the Blue Suede that they've ever come out with since. And since Blue Suede is my number one spot and my number one favorite pick of any strain from the Cookies collaboration in Ohio, I'm pretty excited for this one. After the cereal milk review that we did some time ago, I think it was about a year and a half, almost approaching 2 years ago, that stuff disappointed me so bad, I swore I would never pick up another cross of cereal milk literally ever again. But it's super good news and exciting that this is actually not a cross of cereal milk. This is a cross of something called cereal a la mode, which in and of itself is a cereal milk cross, but I have never tried it by itself in anything that's actually crossed with cereal a la mode. So this is going to be the very first thing that I've ever experienced that's crossed with that strain whatsoever. So needless to say, Savage Army, I'm pretty excited for tonight's review. Before we even get busted into this, give me just a second. Let me go ahead and grab a bottle of water, and we're going to get straight to business, Savage Army. Drop it down in the comment section what you guys are twisting up and roasting on right there alongside me tonight. If you guys are roasting on anything, what company it's from. Hopefully we're not shopping black market, Savage Army. I think that goes without saying. And especially if any of you guys have tried this stuff before me, definitely let me know in the comment section what you guys thought about it. And for any of you savages who enjoy the nice stream at any given point in time during the review, smack it with some savage positivity, man, and hit it with a big, fat, juicy, sexy, savage thumbs up. And on that note, guys, give me just a second and we're going to get cracking. All right, Savage Army, before we even go on over to the website, you guys know how I do things when it comes to Clutch Cannabis's reviews. We typically will go over to the website. They always drop an in-depth and detailed description of every single strain they actually release of stuff they grow themselves. So I kind of like to compare and contrast between their description and how we actually end up feeling in the overall experience and how they compare and contrast to each other. So we're going to do that here in just a second, but before we even get into that, let me see who's up in here, man. And by the way, thank each and every single one of you savages for joining tonight's stream. Now listen, I'm just going to say this and get it right out the way. This content is not going to be for everybody, but this is the content that I started doing when I first ever created my YouTube channel, right? And for all my day one savages, this is really like a love letter to each and every single one of those people. So if you're on my channel and you're subscribed to the Savage Army for all the Bible study content and the spiritual growth, we're returning to that on Monday, right? Monday through Friday is all the spiritual content, the Bible studies, the devotionals, all all that type of stuff. On the weekends, it's classic Savage content. And for all my day one Savages, you guys already know, I don't even have to say this. You guys have been patiently waiting on this stuff to return for, honestly, it's been like over a year, right? So for anybody that's new to the channel, I don't want to like, come off the wrong way, but you don't have to watch this content. I am so grateful for every single person who has joined the Savage Army, and don't ever get that twisted. But you got to understand something. We started the channel doing this type of content. The only reason we had to stop for a while is because we ended up getting gang stalked because a bunch of people didn't like me. Does that make any type of sense, guys? So if you're on the channel for that stuff, one more time, it returns on Monday afternoon. Now, with that being said, let's see who's up in here, man. Day One Savage Austin, man, God bless you, brother, and definitely drop it in the comment section what you're roasting on. If I had to take an educated guess, it would probably be, I don't want to botch the name up, I only seen it one time. It's what you told me about earlier this afternoon, that Gibbon grapes. Is that how you say that, bro? Hopefully I didn't just look silly there and botch the name up completely, but I did see that at the dispensary and on the menu when I picked this stuff up yesterday from Clutch Cannabis. I just didn't end up picking it up because they weren't running any sales or promotional deals or anything like that, nothing specific to Certified. But next weekend, Certified, we are going to be covering something, and I think the other brand is going to be Galena's, man, because people have been shouting out Galena's to me personally to start covering their stuff. Dude, it's been, bro, well over a year. It's been an exceptionally long period of time since people started asking me and hounding me to start covering Galena's. Now, don't get it twisted. We have a few video reviews for some stuff grown by Galena's, but not very many. And if I'm being honest, in the last year, year and a half especially, Clutch Cannabis is not the only brand in Ohio's medical and recreational program that has really started branching out and really dipping their toes in a lot of other things, right? Certified is doing a lot more stuff nowadays, right? All these companies are doing their own pens, their own eye crusher disposables, their own edibles and gummies, whereas a lot of these companies, when the program first came on the scene in Ohio, most of these companies weren't doing anything except for dry flower for vaporization. So to see a lot of these companies now branching out and starting to do all these different things, it's kind of exciting for a connoisseur person like myself who likes to try the best of the best and see everything the industry has to offer, right? So for anybody wondering, this is the second weekend in a row that we're covering Clutch's stuff, but you guys got to understand, this is by far my favorite brand and company when it comes to medical cannabis in the state of Ohio. So since it's been so long since I've tried any of the new stuff they've been dropping, we have so much to catch up to, dude. It's not even funny. And we're not going to be doing reviews as often on the channel as we used to, right, Savage Army? It's going to be exclusively on the weekends from now on, right? So we're going to be spreading these reviews out a lot more than we ever did in the past. We got to keep that in mind. So I kind of have to discipline myself a little bit because there's a part of me on the inside, the critic and the connoisseur on the inside of me, right, that wants to try everything right away. That's what I would do in the past. When I started this channel initially, the Holy Spirit has done so much work on me, guys. I can finally remain or keep myself disciplined when it comes to consumerism. I used to be so bad at that, dude. We used to spend like $300-$400 a week, every single week, just to get out 5 to 6 reviews. It was absolutely insane. But you know what, man? When you're passionate about something, you don't even really think about stuff like that, and you definitely don't really care about stuff like that. This is why I tell everybody all the time, if you're going to try to do something, especially in terms of content creation, make sure it's something that you would enjoy doing for free for an extended period of time, right? You have to be able to enjoy doing whatever that is with no reward, no glory, no congratulations, no applause, no money especially, for long enough until you finally start to break through, right? Because the only way to truly become successful is to do what the Bible says. Seek God and his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. That is a process. That takes an extended period of time. So while I was being cooked on by the Lord for the first 2.5 years that I was doing YouTube, right, I was just having a ball doing those videos because I really enjoy doing them, if that makes any type of sense, right? So it's just beautiful to be back. I'm super excited to be able to do these again. And without yapping on and going on for too long, let me see what's up at the comment section, and then we're going on over to the website. Sheesh, man. And if you guys are just now joining, Drizzity, drop that down in the comment section what you guys are seshing on right there alongside the Savage tonight. And if you guys have got to try the cinnamon milk, let me know what you guys thought about it and give it an official score. If you've already tried this one, rate it 1 through 10. Bit of thought into it, man. Let's have a little bit of fun with tonight's live stream. Sheesh, man. We got Fish and Chips up in here. Wes is up in here. God bless each and every single one of you guys. Wes said, I'm rolling up. Ooh, buddy, that is an absolutely fire sativa from Wes is rolling up some of that Heat Locker right now. Now, somebody in the chat, Wes, if you know, brother, correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't the Heat Locker go away just like a lot of the other stuff like the Sherb Head for a pretty decent period of time? So if you're roasting on the Heat Locker, I can only imagine they ended up bringing that one back. Oh, dude. Speaking of the Sherb Head, I was just telling you guys last weekend that was going to be one of the next things I tried from Clutch, because it used to be originally one of my top 3 favorite strains from their original lineup, right there next to the ice cream cake. And what was that other one, bro? They used to have one that I liked a lot. Ooh, it was in the silver jars, man, and it was called the Whip It. Since then, they've changed the name of the Whip It to just the Whip, and then since they've done that, they literally took it off the menu altogether. And just like the blue cheese and a lot of the other stuff they used to do, and it used to be so gas, bro, we have not seen any of those strains return to the mainline menu in some time, bro. I mean, the blue cheese has been gone. Dude, listen. Rest in peace to the blue cheese, Savage Army. You guys hear me chirping about that almost every time we talk cannabis, for good reason. I think it was one of the most unique, cheesy, terp type strains in the entire program. So to see them take it away and not return to it and never bring that genetic back, just super, super sad, guys. I mean, it was literally a cross of UK cheese, the original cheese, right? So for somebody like me, a connoisseur level consumer like myself who really prefers that cheesy terpene, bro, you can't really get too many other things in the program right now that kind of resemble the same exact level of flavor and the same type of flavor, right? There are some cheesy strains on the menu today, but nothing really compared to what that blue cheese used to be hitting on, Savage Army. And if any of you Savages had the pleasure of trying that for yourself, you already know what we're talking about, man. So let's see, man. Fish and Chips is roasting on, we just said it, bro, the Sherb Head from the Citizen by Clutch line. So since you're saying it's from the Citizen by Clutch line, that kind of makes me assume right off the bat that you're roasting on the half ounce of Smalls, right? Because that would be the only Sherb Head that's labeled under the Citizen by Clutch line. Here's a question for you, Fish and Chips, and I'm genuinely curious about this, right? Because I've always been wondering about those half ounces of like smaller nuggets from Clutch. A lot of people have been telling me that they're really the same similar size as every single jar you would pick up of like the 10s or the 3.5s in today's market, right? But I'm kind of curious because without dropping $80 to $85 just to find out for myself, I'd rather ask one of you Savages who is constantly and consistently getting the half ounces from Clizzity Clutch Cannabis, guys. We're getting back into practice here when it comes to the review, so don't mind me and disregard the choppiness, okay? But how does that flower stack up to the regular jars of like the 2.8s or the 3.5s. Day One Savage Hubalicious was just telling me about 2 weeks ago that he finally got to pick up some Mizity Mac 1 that has been literally off the menu for the last like what, 3-4 months, one of the best strains they've ever released. Took it away for 4 months, brought it back in half ounces. He said he picked up a half and it was so dry it didn't have any flavor. How disappointing I would have been to pick up the first batch of Miracle Alien Cookie, the Capillator's Cup from Clutch, get home with it, open it up, and it's dry and flavorless. That would have brought a single Savage tear to my eyes, guys. Straight up, right? So ever since Day One Savage Hubalicious was shouting that out to me, I've kind of been a little bit nervous to pick up any of the halves of Smalls, even though if you ask me before even trying them, I would say that Clutch is so consistent, that stuff is probably just as good as the regular jars and stuff. But I'm really curious, man, before I drop $85 to find out for myself, if you could let me know, Fish and Chips, and God bless you and welcome to the stream. Neighbor Goods, Berry Cheese, great everyday driver, Sour D and Cheese Mix, Game with Greedo, God bless you, brother, and welcome to the Savage Army. Neighbor Goods, listen, let me just tell you guys right now, if you have not tried anything from Neighbor Goods, I know their stuff isn't really all that special when it comes to the bag appeal. And what I mean by that, and as I'm kind of shouting this, guys, I'm going to multitask or try to. We're pretty bad with multitasking. But just to save on a little bit of time here, right? We're going to go on over to the website while I answer that or kind of respond to the comment. If you guys have not tried Neighbor Goods ever, let me tell you something. Their stuff might look like nothing special, and the reason it doesn't look like anything special is because the size of the nuggets are usually like really, really small, like popcorn nuggets, like legitimate micros, right? But the way it burns is so dumb stupid, it's not even funny. The only bad thing I've ever had from Neighbor Goods ever, I do mean ever, their lemon cherry gelato was fire. Like the second best lemon cherry I've tried in Ohio's program, right? You guys already know that Clutch's LCG is definitely taking the first place spot. Definitely without even questioning that, okay, or second guessing it whatsoever. The second place spot would definitely go to the LCG from Clizzity Clutch Cannabis, though. Or Neighbor Goods, excuse me, Savage Army. And even though it didn't look like nothing special, right? It burned perfectly. It was more on the sweeter side of things. It even had a little bit of like slight creaminess on the back end of the flavor palette. And for an LCG, you don't always get cream. Even though it is a genetic of gelato, it's not super creamy. Usually it's like more on like the tart candy side, really smooth with a little bit of almost like a sugary sweetness coming in off the back end. Neighbor Goods LCG was gas. The only thing I've had from them that wasn't good was the Black Amber. That was probably one of the worst burning strains of flower I ever did a video on, and it's still up on the channel. So if you guys are interested or curious about what I'm talking about, go back and check out the Neighbor Goods review for the Black Amber. It was absolutely astonishing just how bad that stuff actually was, man. And then he says sour cheese berry is the actual name of the strain. I ain't gonna lie to you, dude. You already heard me just say that a minute ago. Cheesy Terps is literally one of my favorite flavor profiles when it comes to anything flower. Something called sour cheese berry sounds absolutely dumb, stupid, ridiculous, bro. And it's 33%. Day One Savage Austin, listen, let me tell you something crazy real quick about the Kush Mints that Clutch just brought back, right? So we already know, I've spoken on this quite a few times in the past, so if you're new to anything Ohio when it comes to the MMJ scene, this might be news to you, right? They recently changed the way that THC testing kind of works for everything they put out in the medical and recreational market. They used to lie. They used to lie profoundly and abundantly on the back of these jars in Ohio when it comes to the overall THC percentage. You used to see on a consistent basis jars of flower that were claiming that they were literally like 45, almost 50% THCA. It is not even fallible, right? It is not even literally possible to have regular flower come out to 50% THCA. It's literally not even possible. The only times you see flower with specs like that is if you're going up to Michigan or on the West Coast in California or any of these other legal states that have been doing it way longer than Ohio, okay? You'll see like infused flower or snowballs, right? Or what's that other stuff that they make with the wax on the outside and then they roll it and keep the moon rocks, sun rocks, and then the snowballs. I'm not a really big fan of any of that stuff, but my point is this. You can't get regular flower like we're about to test out for you guys tonight that comes out to 50%. Just to kind of give you an example, this stuff looks absolutely dumb, stupid, ridiculous. It is absolutely dumb, stupid, gorgeous, guys. The size of these nugs, humongous. Super pretty when it comes to the bag appeal. The color on this stuff is dumb, stupid. It's super sticky. It smells good, but it's only coming out to overall 22.2% THCA. And this stuff looks absolutely dumb stupid, guys. Now, I'm not saying that it's impossible to find flower that's like 40%. My example here is that since they changed the THC testing in Ohio, they just brought back the Kush Mints from Clutch, right? That stuff is testing right now 37.5% on the overall Delta 9 THCA. When I went to Clutch last weekend, first time I've been to Clutch in literally months, Savage Army, they were really trying to get my attention with that Kush Mints, man. The only reason I didn't end up picking that stuff up is because I really don't like Kush Mints. I've never had a Kush Mints that I like really enjoyed. It was alright. I remember the first time I tried the Kush Mints from Clutch, it was decent. It didn't taste bad, but it didn't burn fantastic. And I remember when I tried it for the first time, it was really high in the THC testing as well, right? So it's kind of similar to what I remember from it. But the thing that's curious and interesting to me is that if it's saying that it's 37% right now, it's got to be legitimate, right? Because they changed all the laws when it comes to the THC testing. If any of these companies get caught lying about the THC, that is a heavy charge and a very heavy penalty, right? I'm not going to sit here and get into specifics because I'm not like Ranger Rick here when it comes to THC laws and stuff like that. But I'm pretty in the loop when it comes to the industry, if that makes any type of sense. I mean, we better be. We've been doing this for like 3 years now. Sheesh, okay? But anyway, that's enough about that, guys. So if you see something like Day One Savage Austin is saying here, with the Given grapes from Certified coming out to 33%, I say this all the time. If you go to the dispensary anywhere in Ohio right now, and you see any flower on the menu that's coming out over 30%, I'm honestly going to go ahead and tell you guys, man, right? Especially if you're looking for the best medicine that money can buy. If you see something that's over 30%, as long as it's packaged freshly, and you can always check and ask your bud tender when you get up to the counter before you purchase it and walk out the store with something that's dry, make sure that it's packaged fresh, make sure that it's not old flour, but as long as you get those two boxes checked, I would probably pick that stuff up. Why? Because it's without a shadow of a doubt some of the strongest stuff you can actually get out of the dispensary at all, okay? So, dude, this guy is a troll, man. Sitting on the toilet. I've never smoked a joint sitting on the toilet in my entire life. And I've never really thought about that either, Savage Army. So if this guy's smoking a J on the toilet, Godspeed to you, brother. But welcome to tonight's stream and welcome to Savage Army. I'm roasting on... This guy's a troll as well. Sheesh. So, on that note, Savage Army, give me just a second here. Let me go ahead and pull up Clutch Cannabis's website, and we're going to get straight into the in-depth detailed description. And the good news is, right, normally I would break this stuff down on camera in front of you guys and twist it up, but to save a little bit of time tonight, I already went ahead and twisted this puppy up, which is why it kind of took me a couple extra minutes to get here on stream tonight. And it's a decent-sized doobie, Savage Army. I can tell you guys this right now. Breaking this stuff down, it's got that perfect texture and consistency, perfectly like kinetic sand, super sticky. It's still sticky on the outside of my fingers. I twisted this up literally almost 20 minutes ago now at this point, and the dry hit, bro. Oh, this is definitely gotta be. It's absolutely gotta be better than that cereal milk. The cereal milk, dude, when it initially released, the biggest disappointment I have ever had from Clutch Cannabis when it comes to flower, literally ever in my life. And I do mean literally ever, Savage Army. Cereal milk in and of itself just sounds like a super attractive name for a strain. And because it was following the initial 5 releases of the first 5 strains they dropped for the Cookies collaboration, I mean, dude, every single one of those strains except for the That Badu was hitting dumb, stupid, ridiculous. I'm saying the Ridgeline Lance was almost perfection, right? The Blue Suede was almost perfection, right? What was the other one? There were 2 other ones. I remember they initially dropped 5. No, I'm actually wrong. They initially dropped 4, which was the Blue Suede, That Baidu, Ridgeline Lance, and then the Blue Raz. The Blue Raz is a fan favorite. Most customers on average think that the Blue Raz is actually better than the Blue Suede. I would challenge you guys to try and pick up the Blue Suede one more time. It might be kind of difficult to do that though, because I have never seen the Blue Suede return since the last time I did a video on it. But if you guys got and were, how should I say, privileged, right, to be able to try that when it first came out, oh my gosh, guys. Absolutely dumb, stupid, ridiculous. It was basically perfect, bro. The way it tasted, the way it burned, the way it smelled, the way it looked, super pretty flower as well. Compare that to the cereal milk when it first came out. The cereal milk burned so black, I couldn't even finish the J. It was so harsh, bro, on the inhale. I couldn't even get like 2-3 hits into the review without this overwhelmingly dry and harsh feeling just creeping up on me in the back of my throat. And not only that, it wasn't super sticky from what I remember, and there was barely any terpene to it literally whatsoever, meaning it just tasted like dry flour. So from something that Cookies released with their genetics collaboration with Clutch, super disappointing, guys. So I kind of have a little bit of like a traumatic experience when it comes to some of the genetics on this cinnamon milk. But this stuff looks absolutely dumb stupid, guys. So let me just go ahead and stop yapping for just a second, guys. If you're wondering why we're not just literally jumping right into the review, I've explained this a couple of times in the past, but for anybody that's new to watching the reviews, we can't just start stream and automatically dip and dive right into smoking, guys, because it's going to end up getting age restricted. If it ends up getting age restricted, which honestly, even when I do try to do that, it's very difficult to get a review past the algorithm, especially now with the AI that YouTube is using, without it getting age restricted. And what ends up happening when they do that to any of your content, if your YouTube account doesn't say that you're over 18 years of age, you're not going to be able to watch the content. So because of that, not nearly as many people are able to actually see the live stream, which kind of negates even half the purpose of doing it in the first place, if that makes any type of sense, guys. So if you're wondering why we're 25 minutes in and we haven't sparked up anything yet or showed you any flower, that's pretty much why. But here in about, 5 minutes or so, usually if you hit about the 30-minute mark, the AI typically only kind of checks and analyzes the first 15 to 20 minutes of your video or live stream. So once you hit that 25-minute to 30-minute mark, you're usually set to go, if that makes any type of sense, guys. So, now, Kenny, God bless you, brother. Thank you for watching the stream, and thank you so much for that shout out. What do you call that, a gift? Even though I've been monetized here for what, like 7 going on 8 months on YouTube, some of the stuff that you guys can send during live streams is still kind of like falling over my head a little bit, or going over my head, I should say. I still don't really know what all that stuff means, but I think that was a gift. So God bless you, brother, and thank you so much for sending that gift. Let me go ahead and stop yapping for just a second, guys, so we can pull up the specs and the in-depth detailed description on the website here for the cinnamon milk. And while I'm doing that, guys, if you guys have not done it yet, drop it down in the comment section and let the Savage know what you guys are twisting up literally tonight as we speak. And don't get me wrong, guys, I like to twist it up in front of you guys on stream, but usually when I end up doing that, it ends up taking like 2.5 to 3 hours just to review one strain. My video reviews used to only be about 30 to 40 minutes long, which is still kind of long for a strain review, which is why I'm really needing you guys to let me know, right? Right now, we're going to be doing these as live streams pretty much every single time on the weekends, but if you guys think that these would come out better as long form uploads and regular videos, I'm perfectly fine with doing that. That's exactly the way that we used to do them when we started the channel. So if you would like to see that, just let me know in the comment section, guys. And then go on over to the poll that we just put out earlier today and go ahead and vote on it. If you guys like the streams, we're going to continue to do it this way. If you want to see it as a video, we're going to go ahead and do it that way. It really doesn't matter to me at the end of the day. I have a blast doing these reviews no matter how we end up recording the content. But we're going to go ahead and leave that up to you, Savages, because I already know that there are some people who ain't able to catch me while I'm live. You can always go back and watch the replay, but live streams are kind of like, the appeal to a live stream is being able to watch it while it's happening and interact with me while it's happening. So for that reason, not a lot of people like to watch it on replay. And then the other side of that coin, right, Savage Army, is that if you don't get notified when we do these types of live streams, you might not even know that we ended up uploading it in the first place, if that makes any type of sense. So the cinnamon milk from the Cookies collaboration with Clizzity Clutch Cannabis. I'm super excited for this one, guys. Listen, you already know what we're looking for here. We are looking for a chalk white burn, perfect burning cherry, domed out, not black ash, not flaky ash, smooth on the inhale, all the way down to that roach piece, okay? Good flavor, smooth flavor, and loud flavor. I like flower that has good flavor, but if it's kind of weak in the flavor department, it really doesn't matter at the end of the day. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? I have had plenty of stuff lately, especially in the last few weeks, that it tasted good, but there wasn't enough of it, if that makes sense. And I'm really hoping that's not the case on this cinnamon milk, because the way it smells is really good. And even dry hitting this J right now before sparking it up, it really does taste good. It's almost like a baked apple pie kinda, with like cinnamon and spices overriding over top. It's a little bit sweet, a little bit creamy. So if it can translate the same exact way as it's smelling and the way it's tasting on the dry hit into the actual flavor, if it's burning good and it tastes like that, bro, we're going to be in for a treat, Savage Army. So, let me go ahead and look this up real quick, and we're going to straight up get into it, guys. And if any of you Savages enjoyed tonight's live stream, hit it with some positivity and smack it with a big, fat, juicy Savage thumbs up. Really helps the algorithm, Savage Army, and not only that, it really helps push the content out to new Savages, people who have never seen the content, never seen the channel before. So, it's all around super positive for the content here, guys. And if you watch the entire time and don't like it, come on, man. Are we serious? You'll watch the Savage the entire 2-hour stream, but you're not going to spend like what? Not even 2 seconds to double hit the screen and like it? Come on, man. It helps more people see it, guys. So the more people see these streams, the better they're going to do, and the more fun it's going to be inside of these streams and interacting with me while we're doing them, okay? I feel like that goes without saying, and usually I'm pretty bad about advertising that to grow the channel. I kind of just leave it up to whoever actually rocks with it at the end of the day, but we're investing a lot of time, a lot of energy into this content, guys. So at the end of the day, we want people to be able to see it, if that makes any type of sense, Savage Army. So, the cinnamon milk from Clutch Cannabis, coming in at 22.2% THC. We spelled cinnamon wrong, sheesh. I'm using my half-broken phone right now to look this up too, guys, so bear with me, okay? Let's see here. Hopefully it's still on the website. The problem with their website is if they sell out of whatever strain that is, it's not going to be on the website. But we don't have that problem tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get into this, man. The cinnamon milk from Clutch Cannabis. And let me go ahead and bring you guys in. Oh, I'm super excited, guys. I didn't even mention this. This is the first live stream review that I've done since I picked up my new camera. And usually when I do these live, I'm not even able to show you guys what the flower looks like. But we actually should be able to do that for you guys tonight because the camera quality seems to be good enough to actually show you a good up-close shot of the flower. I'm excited for this one, guys. Let's just go ahead and get straight on into it. Let's see here. Kenny, God bless you, brother. Game with Greed, God bless you. 13-7, God bless you. Disciple Master, or Mindset, excuse me. Welcome to the stream. I've never seen you before. Build strength instead of watching nonsense. I have no idea what you're talking about, brother. If you don't like the content, you can scoot on over and watch something else. You're more than welcome to do that. Monday, we're going back to the Bible studies, okay? So I assume you're new to the channel, okay? But it's still nice to have you. I've been working cannabis 20 years. This dude is a joke. Oh, God bless you, brother. I hope you're still not watching, though, if you hate me that bad. But you're probably going to watch all the way to the end like they usually do, guys. This is how you deal with haters, bro. You can't make them feel like you care about what they have to say about you because that's what they're looking for in the first place, guys. Hilarious. Even in a cannabis review, we're giving you guys spirituality tips for spiritual growth. Absolutely hilarious. So let me go ahead and bring you guys in and show you what this is looking like real quick. Sheesh. The cinnamon milk from Clizzity Clutch Cannabis. And if we scroll down here just a little bit, now, mind you guys, I have a medical card and a prescription for flower in the state of Ohio. So when you're seeing here $45 for a 3.5, we ended up getting like, what, $12.50 knocked off of that. So all in all, this stuff really ended up costing, with the tax included, around $10 a gram. And when I was coming up, guys, $10 a gram for good flower was really like the norm, if that makes any sense. When legal cannabis started coming around, when they legalized cannabis in all these different states, right, it started to become a lot more normalized to sell weed for like $15, $20 a gram. And Clutch Cannabis was guilty of that for a really exceptional period of time, right? And I guess if you're shopping recreational, they're still kind of guilty of that today because, listen, 3.5 for $45, if you add the tax with that overall, that's going to come out to like, brother, that's going to come out to like $52, $53 for a 3.5. Now, listen, I'm going to state this on the record, right? And let the record show, okay? We try to be funny once in a while, okay? Sheesh. But $45 for a 3.5, adding $7 with the tax, it could be the best flower that you've ever had, and that's still not justifying the price. Now, I've been on the record and stated that before, but because I'm a connoisseur and I enjoy trying the best that the plant has to offer, we end up paying that discounted price with the medical license. But if I'm being honest, guys, let this be an example. If you're in Ohio and you do not have a medical license and you do not have a prescription, it's worth it because of the money that you're going to be saving alone. Not just because you actually have a prescription for it, right? Which looks a lot better on you for many different reasons, okay? Because even though cannabis is legal, it's still federally illegal. So the way that the police look at marijuana, it's different than it used to be. But if you're caught under the wrong circumstances with it on your person, if you don't have a medical card, guys, it could be a disgusting situation still to this day, which is very unfortunate. It's also very sad. And in the state of Ohio, guys, they just recently started getting more aggressive when it comes to these cannabis laws. So look into the laws for yourself, guys. We might even do a full length like upload of a video, a regular style long form video explaining all the different changes when it comes to Ohio and cannabis. But that's neither here nor there. If you're watching and you're shopping recreational, let me just tell you guys, you are spending way more of an amount of money than you normally would just because you haven't made one phone call to get your prescription for it. It's a little bit of money. It's like 40, 50 bucks for 12 months prescription, right? For a full year. It is so worth it, guys. You're going to make that money back so quickly. It's not even funny. Even if you say you go to the dispensary one time a month, even if you go to the dispo once a month, you're still going to be recuperating that initial investment to get the med card in like 2 to 3 months. That's if you only go once a month. So over the course of an entire year, can you guys imagine? That's going to stack up crazy, bro. And now every single one of these dispensaries in Canton, at least, I can only speak on Canton, Ohio, every single one of them is constantly, almost every single day. That's how I picked this stuff up so cheap, right? Compared to the initial and original price point, that was actually pretty cheap, like 33 bucks for the 3.5. That's actually, I think, Am I wrong here? I think that's less than $10 a gram, not by much, but by a teeny tiny little bit, right? So, you know, for some cookie stuff that's fresh as well, we're definitely okay with that at the end of the day. But anyway, let's not go ahead and talk about that too much. Let's get into the description here, guys. So, if you do not know what cinnamon milk is crossed with, excuse me, sheesh. This stuff is crossed with cereal a la mode, regular Sherb, and then it's crossed with a regular Z, right? So since this is crossed with a baseline Z, I'm also expecting a decent bit of funkiness off of this, right? Because normally every single Z cross that I've ever tried in my entire life had almost that, like, how do I say this the best way, bro? It had almost that like offensive type of funkiness to it. Like not just regular funkiness, but almost like a very sharp, pungent funkiness, almost like funkiness with a little bit of citrus in there as well. And you don't find that literally every single day. It's more of a rare terpene combination to find like sour citrus mixed in with really sweaty funk, if that makes any type of sense, guys. And normally when I try anything that's crossed with Z, you at least pick up on that flavor profile at least a little bit. Some more than others, but it's usually at least somewhat present in every single Z cross I have literally ever had. So we'll see about this, man. If I'm being real, it almost smells like butterscotch a little bit. You definitely smell that cinnamon. It smells like cinnamon, and not just regular cinnamon. It kind of smells like spices. Can't really pinpoint exactly what spices, but it definitely has that like spicy baseline cinnamon, like cinnamon right out the jar. You know what? While we're reading this, we're going to go ahead and side by side compare if it actually smells like what it says it smells like on the website, guys. So it says here that this stuff was bred by Powers Up Genetics and Cookies Maywood. Cinnamon milk stands out visually with chunky royal purple nugs. I like the way it said that because it's literally not lying. Wait till you guys see what this stuff looks like. It says chunky royal purple nugs accented by deep green hues, long orange hairs, and a frosty layer of sparkly trichomes. Breaking apart the buds fills the air with a creamy cinnamon and baking spice aroma. That was a perfect description of what this smells like. I am not even going to lie. Breaking apart the buds fills the air with a creamy cinnamon and baking spice aroma. So it describes it as like a baking spice. I don't know if I would say the same thing, but to be honest, I can't really come up with the perfect terminology to kind of resonate with exactly what this smells like. So we'll just go ahead and run with that, Clutch Cannabis. Why not? I've said this before. Whoever is writing these, give them a raise because they do absolutely a phenomenal job of describing these strains in a way that actually gets you excited to try it out for yourself every single time. And to be honest, over the course of the last year, these descriptions have just gotten better and better and better and better, man. And the same is true for this so far, man. Whoever wrote this was super into it, right? On the palate, the strain doubles down on this direction, delivering mouth-coating layers of cinnamon, earthy sweet cream, and gas that waft through the air. The flavor truly is reminiscent of its namesake, with a profile that is warm, inviting, and unmistakably nostalgic. Highlighting what is nostalgic about this stuff, though. Highlighting Cookie's exceptional ability to harness and expound upon the unique potential of their genetic library. Did I miss something in here, guys? Why are they describing the cinnamon milk as smelling and tasting nostalgic? Nostalgic in terms of what? What is this supposed to be reminding you of when you're hitting it? Like snickerdoodle cookies or something like that? We're trying to be funny. But now that we went ahead and read what they have to say about this stuff, let me go ahead and just crack this jar open and smell it for myself. Sheesh. Oh! Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not even going to hold you. This actually smells pretty decent, bro. How would I describe that, son? It almost has like a gingerbread type of smell. It smells sweet. It smells like more of like a dessert type of strain. By the way, this is indica dominant, perfect for late evening. Oh my gosh, guys. That almost smells like baked apples too, bro. Like a freshly baked apple pie, but not super heavy on the apple smell itself. Like more so on like the cinnamon side of things. And they weren't kidding, bro. This smells sweet. Maybe it's mildly creamy. I don't know if I would say that it smells necessarily creamy, though. It definitely smells sweet, though, brother. Now, this is the faithful moment, guys. The first live stream review. How is this stuff going to end up looking on the camera? We're about to find out. So, give me just a second here. And let me go ahead and turn this camera around and give you guys a close-up. Sheesh. Hey, you know what, Savage Army? That is a lot better than it used to look when we were doing the reviews on live. Look at that, bro. Super humongous nugget. Super thick-alicious. Super purple as well. The green on this is really primarily dark green. It's got a lot of purple hues up in there, and you are picking up a lot of these orange hairs, but as you guys can see here, man, I wish I could close in on this stuff. As you guys can see, the orange hairs are like super compressed on the outside of the nugget. They're not like sprouting outwards, if that makes sense, and that's usually what you would come to expect when you see flour that has a lot of like orange pistils and stuff. Brother, that is looking absolutely beautiful, son. Come on, man. Am I wrong or am I... Wait a second. Am I wrong or am I right? I almost said the wrong thing, guys. Sheesh. So, man, listen, before we spark this up, something that's coming in at 22% THC, I don't know what to expect when it comes to the overall effect. I'm not expecting something that's going to, like, literally knock me out, right? And by the way, I forgot to mention this, Savage Army, okay? At the bottom of the website there, right underneath the in-depth and detailed description of what this stuff actually smells, looks, and tastes like, the overall terpene percentage on this stuff, I know a lot of you guys are just like me. That's, like, what I care about the most, not even really so much the THC percentage overall. I care about that terpene percentage, right? Because if it's high THC, but it's really low terp, it's not really going to be giving you anything in the way of like super unique effects, if that makes any type of sense. And not only that, most of the reason that I'm a connoisseur is because I really like trying and like kind of searching and seeking out different terpene combinations, which by the way, since we're talking about different and unique terpene combinations, ooh, sheesh, we almost just dropped that glass jar, guys. That would have been absolutely terrible. But I'm getting a little bit excited here, right? Because the second thing that we picked up for this weekend, check this out, guys. Oh my good gracious, man. This puppy right here, this Versace, this is a new drop as well. It's actually a little bit newer than the cinnamon milk from Cookies. And if I look at the back of the jar here, it's packaged a little bit fresher and the harvest date is super recent as well. But my point is this, since I'm telling you guys about unique terpene combinations and profiles, right? I opened this up yesterday to show you guys the short of what the nuggets and the flour was actually looking like. I don't think I've literally ever in my entire life smelled something that smelled exactly like this. It's almost like a Zetopia. If you guys haven't had Zetopia, try the Zetopia out from Clutch, bro, and then get back to me. That stuff was absolutely phenomenal. One of the best new things they dropped late last year. But this smells a little bit like that, but it has like a big waft, like a humongous amount, right, of super tart and sweet at the same time, like a Sour Patch Kid, right? It's absolutely uncanny, and the way it's all mixed together, super unique. So we're trying to save the best for last. You know, the cinnamon milk might actually blow the Versace out of the water. That's the point of doing these reviews, so that we can find out for ourselves. So this is coming tomorrow. Stay tuned for that. And also, before we end the stream tonight, Savage Army, and don't worry, guys, we're 40 minutes in, I already know, but we're trying to have a decent little chill, vibed out live stream tonight, guys. I've been so busy the last few weeks that when I do a live stream during the week, I sound like Scooby-Doo, sheesh. I kind of have to rush, right? Because I barely have any time to get it done. On the weekends, the reason that I'm doing these on the weekends is because I don't really have to rush nearly as much. We can just kind of relax and have a decent time, guys, right? And that's exactly what I intend to do tonight. So if any of you guys are just now joining and you enjoy the live stream at any given point in time tonight, hit it, smash it, smack it with some savage, juicy positivity, and hit it with a big, fat, juicy, sexy, savage thumbs up, guys, okay? So, as we're getting ready to spark up this cinnamon milk, guys, what's the specs when it comes to the specific terps? Real quick, right? In milligrams, leading the way, we have linalool coming in at 6.95, limonene coming in at 6.51, myrcene coming in at 4.96, caryophyllene coming in at 2.51, B-pinene coming in at 0.94, and then we have terpineol, not terpinolene. They're two different things. A lot of people end up getting those two terpenes confused. Terpineol, a very minor amount of it, coming in at 0.72, and then fenchol, which is a super rare terp. You do not see fenchol very, very often, if that makes any sense, Savage Army. If you just go on like an average consumer basis, right, you'll see fenchol in a strain maybe like 1 every 4 strains you pick up. So it's pretty rare, if that makes sense. But to be real, it's the very last terp that's listed here, and it's kind of tied with the terpineol at 0.72 milligrams of total terp, which isn't really that much at the end of the day. But now that we got that stuff beat up and busted on out the way, and by the way, for anybody that's wondering, I know a lot of you guys are like me, and you really want to know if it's dry or if it's really sticky. I can tell you guys right now, without a shadow of a doubt, this stuff is super sticky. When I was twisting this stuff up, I barely had to put or exert any type of effort, literally whatsoever. This basically rolled itself. And you guys know, if you roll joints, if the flour is super fresh and the cure is proper, it's almost as if the doobie rolls itself, because the weed is so sticky, it kind of attaches itself to the back end of the paper, and as you move your thumbs, it just basically by itself kind of rolls up in 3 strokes, bro. Some joints, if it's super sticky, I can literally roll the entire thing in like 3 to 4 motions. 4 motions tops, right? But when you have flour that's dry like whatsoever, what you're going to have is that flour is going to fall out of both ends of your paper. It's going to be an absolute mess. It's super irritating to deal with that type of stuff. I'll tell you what, if you have super loud and sticky weed, you could stand out in the wind and still roll your joint without all your material blowing away in the wind. How many savages have had something like that happen to them? Any of my savages in the collective tonight that had an experience of trying to roll a J outside in the wind, and then the wind comes along, and then all of a sudden, before you know it, all your material was literally on the floor. That's happened to me more than once, guys. Back in the day, when we were smoking on that Reggie Jackson pack, when we were hitting on that Regalicious Jackson, bro, for $5 a gram. We were outside rolling that stuff up with the homies, and the grass got to hit that weed more times than I can even care to count. Okay? Anyway, you see how we get off on these rant tangents, guys? I'll be talking about something, and then before I even know it, my brain will divert into an entirely different direction, and if I don't speak on it in that moment, most times, 9 times out of 10, I'll completely forget about a Savage Army. But good thing, that's why I'm unique, and that's why the stuff that I do is unique to me, man, straight up. And the people that rock with my content because they rock with me genuinely, you guys have no idea, man. I said this previously, I think a few days ago. I would much rather have 10,000 subscribers of the realest, most authentic, most genuine savages that I could possibly find on planet Earth than having 1 million subscribers full of fakes and snakes and people that are watching you just to see you fail, and people that are literally trying to get you to be somebody that you're not. They're watching you expecting you to be somebody that you're not. They don't really rock with you for you. They're rocking with you mostly to see if you're going to fail or not and root you on to fail, or they're watching you because they expect you to be somebody else, right? Take something out of my book, right? Been doing content here on YouTube for the past 3 years. And by the way, guys, while I'm telling you guys this story, let's go ahead and spark this puppy up, man. Which end should I light this thing from, bro? This cinnamon milk from the Cookies collaboration with Clutch Cannabis. Cereal a la mode, crossed with sherbs, crossed with regular baseline Z. How is this stuff going to be tasting? Is it going to be smooth? Is it going to be resinous around the tip of that joint? And usually, guys, if you're not aware, if you're roasting on something and it's got like a really excessive pool of resin around the tip of that paper, the thicker the resin ring is usually correlated to how much terpene and how flavorful the strain is. So when we're doing these reviews, right, like some of the stuff we did last weekend, bro, the syrups was phenomenal, but that freaking rainbow ice was so good, Savage Army. I would actually go back and pick up another jar of that stuff. And you guys know me, typically, I don't really try anything twice because I want to try as much new stuff as humanly possible. I would most definitely, like no questions asked, pick up another jar of that rainbow ice. That stuff was absolutely phenomenal. And after I finished the entire 3.5, I know this sounds crazy, guys. Listen, I know this might sound crazy, but I actually think I prefer the rainbow ice as opposed to the lemon ice. And last summer when they dropped the lemon ice, ooh, we liked that one quite a bit, dude. I remember I went through like 6 or 7 tenths of that in the course of just 1 month. I think that might be the most jars that I've ever purchased of a new strain from any company, let alone Clutch, since I've had my medical card and been in this program, which is going on what? Almost 4 years now, because I was in the program for like an entire year before I actually even started doing YouTube videos or like marijuana reviews or anything like that. And by the way, guys, I didn't even show y'all this. Look at this. We also picked up a little treat besides the flour, and we picked up a lemon slushy, crossed ice creams with a Z at the end, Eye Crusher disposable. This is literally the second and only the second Eye Crusher that I've ever tried from any company, right? And the first one I tried was from Clutch as well. I think it was the lemon ice, if my memory serves me correctly. This is a cross, right? They've crossed 2 different strains together to get the overall terpene profile for these new Eye Crushers, and I've never seen them do do anything like that since they did the crosses when it comes to the distillate luster pods. Does any of you savages, right, remember when Clutch Cannabis crossed things together when they had the distillate pods? They don't even do that anymore, bro. And I actually have an interesting story about Clutch Cannabis and distillate. If we have time tonight, somebody remind me. I would love to tell you guys that story. It don't really matter now. I can tell you guys some of this stuff because I'm not working with Clutch Cannabis anymore, unfortunately. Not to say I wouldn't ever work with them again in the future. I just hear, we'll put it like this, man. If I ever work with Clutch Cannabis ever again, I wouldn't be working as like somebody at the cash register. I would be working more for like a spokesperson for the company or something like that, if that makes any type of sense. And to be honest, we're primarily focused on ministry and preaching and pastoring and stuff. But for anybody wondering if I would ever consider working with the company again, I'm a huge fan of Clutch Cannabis, guys. I mean, that's no secret. If you guys have been watching me for even a little bit of time, that's probably like coming to no surprise, right? But for me right now, I don't think I have absolutely any interest whatsoever in being just a regular dispensary agent. And the biggest reason for that, guys, it just don't pay enough. If I'm being honest, it's one of the jobs that you basically are like depending on your tips and stuff like that. And everybody in our economy is hurting so bad right now, Savage Army. It's kind of hard to get tips when you're working at a tip type of job. You know what I mean? Now, for me, also at the time, you have to consider I wasn't really getting all that many hours either. Ooh, wee. Now, here's the thing, guys. The cereal milk was such a disappointment to the Savage that one of the biggest reasons I was so let down by that, guys, it burned completely black and it basically had no flavor. So I'm a little bit worried going into this one because, listen, never judge a book by its cover, Savage Army. Absolutely never, especially when it comes to cannabis. This stuff looks absolutely delectable. It smells really good and it's really sticky, but that doesn't mean it's going to end up roasting good, if that makes any type of sense, guys. So it's checking almost every single box so far. How's it actually going to be hitting when it comes to the overall experience? The cinnamon milk from Cookies. Cheers. Okay. Uh-oh, hold up. I'm taking off the hat for this one, Savage Army. Sheesh. Oh, wait a second, brother. The first two hits didn't really taste like anything like profoundly special, but that last hit, bro, something else started like showing its face there, man. I might really enjoy this one. We'll just have to see. But for anybody wondering, I didn't even shout this out yet. The one thing that if I was to complain about anything right out the gate, it would be this. It was harvested on February 16th, 2026, right? But it was packaged on June 1st, 2026. So if you really add up all that time, they harvested the flower, but they waited almost 4 entire months before putting it into a package. So if I'm being real, right, and I had to take an educated guess, I would say the reason that this stuff is still so sticky and the moisture content is absolutely off the charts still all that time later is most likely because of a humidifier pack or a extendedly large, how do you say that, right? A moisture pack or a Boveda pack. That's the word I was thinking of, Savage Army. Now, I'm not super biased when it comes to using humidifier packs, but here's the problem I have with them. They really come in handy if you have some flower that is completely dried out. If you have some really completely dry flower, you can't really use that material unless you bring it back to life. So in those cases and in those situations and instances, I myself would probably use a humidifier pack, right? But the goal in and of itself isn't to get dry flower. The goal is to get somewhat fresh flower that wasn't harvested all that long ago, right? I kind of got the vibe when I picked this up yesterday and I first opened it up and gave it the nose test, right, on my own personal time. I kind of got the vibe that this did sit with a humidifier pack for some time. And you can just kind of tell the longer that you're experienced with cannabis and things of this nature because the color of the flower itself had like a specific hue to it. And that's the best word I can come up with off the top of my dome piece. It had a specific color and a specific hue. And the way that this is hitting already, which, by the way, real quick, guys, let me go ahead and show you what we're working with on the ash. I don't have flash when we're streaming, but you guys can see that pretty decently here, man. So already, you guys already know what I'm going to say. It's a tad bit peppery on the backside and a little bit flaky, right? We're not going to be knocking off major points because of that, but when it comes to the burn, you already know what we look for and what we tend to expect here. We are looking for a completely domed out, not flaky, not black whatsoever, perfectly domed out white, authentically chalk white cherry, right? That's a telltale sign that the stuff is cured properly, dang near to perfection, if I say so myself, and that it was flushed properly as well. This here right now, it's not burning bad by any stretch of the imagination. We'll see how it burns the rest of the way, but it's kind of burning slightly above average, guys. Right around average, if I'm being honest. Hopefully it corrects itself when it comes to that pepper and when it comes to the flakiness on the backside of the cherry here. And if I had to take a guess, guys, I'm just going to be honest with you. I think the reason that we're experiencing a little bit of pepper, let me grab an ashtray, guys. I think we're experiencing a little bit of pepper when it comes to the cherry on this because of the harvest date as opposed to the package date. Now, what you guys are going to notice when we go over the Versace here, it's not really like that. This is what I typically look for. Listen to this. The Versace was harvested on 5/13/2026, right? But it was packaged on June 30th, 2026. So all in all, adding that up, that's only about a month and a half, right? A month and a half past harvest is a much better amount of time for cure than almost 4 months. Does that make sense, guys? And also, anybody that's in Ohio, and if you're a fan of Clutch, you might have noticed by now, they actually ain't using Mylar packs for Cookies Genetics no more. And you know what's kind of exciting about that now that I'm thinking about it, Savage Army? I'm not sure if I've seen any legal state that does Cookies Genetics actually put it in a glass jar. This isn't plastic, Savage Army. That is a glass jar, the same exact jars they used for the original Clutch Genetics, right? And if you guys have had these before, you already know, I keep every single one of these things to reuse them because they're really high quality. This is some super durable glass, bro. This ain't no cheap plastic. It's not even thick plastic. This is really decently thick, durable glass. Even if you drop this, I'm just going to do it. You know, I'm pretty confident in it. Why not? Let me go ahead and drop this right here. Let me show you guys the distance real quick. This is the distance. I'm standing all the way up, right? Why not? Bro, that landed right on the bottom of the jar, son. And it didn't do absolutely anything. These jars are absolutely dumb, stupid, ridiculous. And even though this isn't full HD, you can still see how ridiculous this flower is looking now. You know what's really interesting to me, Savage Army, since I'm bringing it up? If I compare the cinnamon milk to the Versace here, okay, I think the cinnamon milk actually looks better on the bag appeal. I think it looks prettier. I think it looks more like magazine-style weed if you're, you know, being honest with yourself. And I think that Versace still looks really good, but the reason I'm more excited to try this one as opposed to the cinnamon milk, and so far this isn't bad, but I want to bring this up real quick, right? This looks better. Never judge a book by its cover, right? But this smells so stupid, Savage Army. This smells so stupid. The leading terp is basically 8 milligrams, which since they changed the way that terpene testing occurs now, as well as THC, almost 8 milligrams for a leading terpene is actually not that bad. Just to compare to this stuff here, the cinnamon milk was about 6.9. Not that much less, if I'm being honest. And also, kind of something that heavy in linalool is kind of rare as well. The cinnamon milk's got some interesting combination of terps. This is approaching halfway down. Listen, let me just tell you guys this, right? Because I know a lot of people are curious. So far, it definitely tastes better than the cereal milk. So far, without a shadow of a doubt, guys, this definitely does taste better than the cereal milk. And also, I want to show you guys real quick. Well, right? We still have just a smidge of pepper here, but look how well it corrected itself, right? Approaching halfway down on this here, it's actually starting to look decently uniform. It's still kind of flaky on the outside of the cherry. I more so look for like a completely domed out cherry, but that's just me and my personal preference if I'm being honest. I've even had flour in the past that had a slight pepperiness to it, but still tasted really good. But here's the problem, right? I've even had people in the past, get irritated with me because I care so much about the cherry and I care so much about the burn. Let me explain why I care so much about the burn in a way that might make more sense, right? In my personal experience, every single time that I have flour that burns black whatsoever and flaky as well, it always correlates to being harsh. Always, every single time, guys. I've especially the last like 5 years since I've started going to dispensaries for flour and really getting like the best that money can buy, if that makes any type of sense. I've noticed it more and more. If it doesn't burn a certain way, and you kind of listen, it's taken me years to dial this in, but at this point, since I've been doing it for so long, I can literally tell just how good something is going to smoke by the first couple pulls of it, by the way that it tastes, by the level of harshness in the throat, if it's drying out your mouth whatsoever. What I'm going to say about the cinnamon milk right now, and I'm going to be 100% honest with you guys as well, right? Even though this tastes better than the cereal milk, it still has like notes of what that tastes like, which is really strange to me because when I tried the cereal milk, I honestly assumed that it was just bad weed. I assumed that it was like, how should I say, old flour. That or it just came out wrong and it didn't really have a lot of terpene to it. It didn't have a lot of flavor. That's what I was initially thinking. But after trying this stuff, I'm kind of sitting here wondering to myself, maybe that's just the way that cereal milk is supposed to taste, right? Which, how would I describe this flavor right now? I mean, Savage Army, it smells better than it tastes right out the gate. Let me go ahead and just tell you guys what I'm feeling about the burn before we go crazy and go all out on the flavor here. This stuff is burning pretty decently. It's definitely above average when it comes to the combustion here. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys just one more time so you can get a good visual representation. Oh, yeah, dude. And the terp ring is kind of showing itself now halfway down at this point in the doobie as well. Wasn't really super sweated out. Now, as you guys can see, though, man, and you're going to find this on certain flour, it's super terped up and terpalicious on the front, but when you turn it around to the backside here, there's nothing. There's almost absolutely zero sweat to this whatsoever. And I do find this a lot with stuff that's like, it's not quite top shelf, but it's almost there. I find this, and for some reason, I can't sit here and honestly tell you guys why this actually happens, right? But I do notice it, okay? And that kind of tells you where I'm coming out with this. Do I feel like this is overall top shelf? Not quite, and it's mostly because of the inhale. And we're going to explain that and go over that here more in just a second. But for the overall rating, when it comes to the burn, I mean, you guys tell me, right? I definitely feel like this is above average, but I don't think that it's quite top shelf. So for that reason alone, guys, as you see here even halfway down, it's still a bit peppery. Now listen, Savages, don't get it twisted. I'm not completely crapping on this stuff because it's still above average flour, right? You're going to see more what I'm talking about when we get to the overall rating. Do I think this is quite as good as the two strains that we just tried last weekend? For the cookies collab here, right? And we did mention, I'm kind of glad I brought that up now. We did mention at the start of the stream that in my humble opinion, in my experience, and I've tried a lot of the stuff from the cookies collab now. We've tried almost everything. We have not tried the caviars yet, but besides the caviar and the pomegranate shake, we have not tried, or excuse me, we have tried basically every single one that they've dropped, right? And they have a lot of these at this point. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, right, in the comment section. But I think at this point today, Clutch Cannabis has like 20 plus different flavors for the cookies collaboration, which is actually pretty insane when you consider they just started doing this like what, a year and a half ago with cookies and doing their stuff. And they initially came out with 4 strains. Cereal Milk was actually the 5th, and it took them like 2 months after the initial drop to bring the Cereal Milk out. Are you guys seeing why I was so disappointed when I first tried that stuff out? Because coming off of the first 4 that they dropped for cookies, I was expecting something just bananas, bro. I was personally expecting the Cereal Milk to be just as good as that Ridgeline Lance. Maybe not as good as the Blue Suede, but every bit as good of the Blue Raz and the Ridgeline Lance, and it just wasn't, right? This is definitely not nearly as disappointing as the Cereal Milk. But the Cinnamon Milk, overall, I'm slightly disappointed in it, not necessarily because of the flavor, but the inhale, right? The burn on this, considering the sweat level, it's not bad, but it's not great. The burn itself actually corrected itself a lot after the first couple hits, man. I'm not even gonna lie. As you guys can see right here without even closing in on this, that's actually burning pretty good. And let me not forget about the Savage Army, man. Let me go ahead and catch up with you guys. Day one Savage, Hoobalicious. I was hoping that you were watching tonight, man. Yeah, the short you posted of the cinnamon milk, the buds was gorgeous, honestly. So Hoobalicious, bro. I almost said Hoobastank the other day. Hoobalicious, bro. Since you're not in Gen Z, right? Do you know what band I'm talking about? Hoobastank, son? I can't believe I almost said that the other day. It almost literally rolled off the tongue. Day one Savage, Hoobalicious. Number one, what are you roasting tonight, brother? And then number two, bro, tell me, do you ever experience what we're kind of experiencing tonight with the cinnamon milk, right? This stuff looks absolutely bananas. This stuff looks absolutely dumb, stupid, ridiculous. It looks filthy. You could put the cinnamon milk in a magazine for cannabis and it would sell crazily, right? It would do very well for the magazine. It looks great. The thing on this, I think without a shadow of a doubt, this stuff right here would smoke so much better if instead of waiting 4 months to package it after they clip the flower, just like they did for the Versace here, Savages, I cannot wait to try out this Versace. It smells like nobody's business, dog. It smells ridiculous, Savage Army, and it smells unique, bro. This one right here smells super different as well, right? This one kind of reminded me of like an apple and baked cinnamon version of a biscotti. Ooh, that's actually a half decent explanation and description of how I feel represents the aroma of this strain decently well, right? Maybe not the best, but an apple and baked cinnamon version of a biscotti. It smells pretty good, right? And it tastes pretty decent as well. We're going to cover that in a second. But because this stuff was sitting out for so long, right? And I already know, guys, and listen, it's not a necessarily terrible thing. I'd much rather have this, right, than flour that was dry. So I'm not mad that they used a Boveda pack, but you should definitely package it up a little bit sooner, man. Some people prefer a longer cure, and that's totally fine, and I understand that. You got to keep in mind, right? This is my grading scale. So it's kind of like hand-tailored to me and my personal preference when it comes to flour, okay? But in all the years that I've been doing this on a connoisseur level, I'm telling you guys this because in my experience, it really represents what you're going to experience the best, okay? And that is if the longer it sits out, the harsher it's going to be. And also, as it grows harsher, it's going to lose a little bit more flavor. It's not going to taste as potent and loud as it would when it was fresh the first time. So humidifier packs do absolutely incredible to bring back flour from the dead, bring it back to life into an actual usable state, right? But it's never going to represent the full terpene profile as it was when it was first fresh. Are you picking up what I'm putting down, Savage Army? They come in they come in extreme handy, right? When you have dry flour, that's basically unusable. That's when Boveda packs are at their best. But when you're using it on flour that's already fresh, what you actually have is you're running a risk of spores, mildew, and mold growing on the flour. There's definitely no mold in this flour. That's not what we're getting at, but I've seen it happen, and I've actually had it happen to me a couple of times, right? So I know what we're talking about here when it comes to mildew and mold on weed, and especially if it's already fresh and it's already sticky, sticking a Boveda pack on it is going to make it to where it's like the moisture content is almost too much, if that makes sense. And then when it dries, when you take the pack off of it, right? When it dries, it almost has like this, it's weird, Savage Army, but it's almost like when you're roasting on it, you can taste that it had a lot of moisture content. I can't explain it any better than I'm explaining it right now, but your lungs can tell that it had too much moisture in it, even after it dried. It's the strangest thing, but I've experienced it just so many times, I'm certain about it at this point. But that's just me, right? If you guys like a longer cure, I understand it. And you know what? Not everybody likes to smoke joints like the Savage does. This is my daily driver, Savage Army. It always has been. Even after taking a break for like almost 4 months combined between the two breaks that I took last year, I still came back. It's like riding a bike, right? To the papers, man. Savage is going to be papers till the day I die. That just is what it is. It's an absolute fact. But for people that like to vaporize flower, they like a longer cure. So you have to understand it also kind of depends on how you're using the medicine, right? We use papers, okay? Probably the unhealthiest way to use the medicine. The healthiest way to use cannabis would be to take it orally as God intended. And I mean, that's just 100% an absolute fact. But since I've been used to doing this since I was basically like 15, 16 years old and doing it this way, you guys already know that smoking is the savage's thorn, right? If you want to know the healthiest way to intake cannabis, it would definitely be between tinctures, RSO oil for the Rick Simpson oil. Even I've seen people eat distillate in the past, which is just absolutely mind-boggling. I can't believe you would ever be that down bad to eat distillate oil. I've seen savages, come on, man. If anybody else has experienced this, drop it in the chat below. I've seen people dab distillate oil. Oh my gosh. With a banger and a nail and a torch and everything. Could you imagine that? Taking a dab of straight distillate oil that you would put in the cheapest, inexpensive cart of all time, right? The only reason people really even chief on distillate is because of how cheap it is, right? For the THC content, it's like the cheapest way you can get the best bang for your buck. So, and it's also super portable. So a lot of people in this generation really like the pens. Speaking of pens, right? I didn't even really show you guys that. Where did I put that thing, man? Look at this, Savage Army. And this thing is Savage certified, son. I already knew that they do some of the best pens I've ever tried on planet Earth. Their eye crushers from the Citizen line is absolutely ridiculous, guys. Not only is the design really aesthetically pleasing, some of my favorite color combinations of all time, you have the dark matte black and that really like primed finished gold oozing and dripping. I always love black and gold together. It just looks absolutely amazing. Super, super aesthetically pleasing on the palette, right? And look at the freaking mouthpiece on this thing, guys. Let me bring you guys in. Look at the mouthpiece on that, Savage Army. I wish you could turn your flash on when you're doing streams. Unfortunately, it does not let you do that. But it is what it is, man. Hey, bro, we got Cleveland Brown up in here as well. God bless you, brother. I haven't seen you in a long time. Savage, people dab RS. Oh, no, brother. No. This dude said, hey, Cleveland just said he's seen people dab Rick Simpson oil. That made my stomach hurt, bro. That made my stomach hurt just now. That would be absolutely disgusting. Ew. Ew. But listen, some people, they abuse THC. Do you see why I try to tell you guys, man? Like, use the plant the way that God intended for people to use the plant, right? And for anybody that thinks otherwise, why do you think that we have cannabis receptors in your brain? Cannabinoid receptors. If you didn't actually have a use for the plant, you wouldn't have a way to process it within God's created body, right? Does that make any type of sense? I don't know, man. But there's always going to be somebody who has something to say about that. In Jesus' name, we pray for them. It just is what it is. Judge not, lest you be judged the same way that you judge others. And I have had to humbly learn that lesson myself numerous times, man. Just listen, stay in your lane, keep it in your own, pocket and stuff like that. And don't worry about, it's not worth it, Savage Army. So I think I seen somebody chirping something like that a little bit ago. But listen, Kenny, Cleveland, Hoobalicious, if any single one of you savages, Day One Savage Austin, right? If any single one of you savages were wondering about picking up the cinnamon milk from the Cookies collab from Clutch yourself, here's my overall and general consensus of how I'm feeling and my honest opinion of this stuff. Because listen, I'm not trying to crap all over this stuff just for the sake of crapping on it, because it's not bad. This is actually still well above average flower. It's still burning pretty good. The flavor is pretty decent on it. Listen, the aroma is not translating as well as I would have liked into the actual flavor when you combust it. That's just for sure. I think in this instance, vaporizing it would actually benefit you because it would most likely taste better with the excess cure on this stuff. And listen, some people are into vaping their flower. It just is what it is. But if you're a J roller like myself, right, it's a little bit harsh on the inhale. And what I mean by that is like, I have to relight it. We've been chirping for a minute, right? And the back of my throat still feels super harsh, guys. Not in a way that it's making me like hack and cough up my lungs. It's not like giving me crazy amounts of lung expansion, right? but it's almost giving me cotton mouth and stuff like that. And in my experience, guys, I only ever get cotton mouth after roasting a doobie if it's like not the freshest. And these are just things that I have noticed over the years that have like consistently happened. So my brain just kind of puts two and two together. And listen, I challenge you guys. If you don't believe what I'm saying about that when it comes to the cure and the burn and things of this nature, test it out for yourself. When you roast a doobie in a J and it burns black and flaky, it's always going to be harsh on that inhale. It's going to make you hack up a lung most of the time. This one isn't really doing that. It's not cured terribly. I just personally would have preferred it more like 2 months after harvest than 4 months after harvest, right? And also, you preserve terps that way, which for me is a big thing. It's a big plus, right? Because I really love the different flavors and the terp combinations. It's 50% of the experience for a connoisseur, right? Okay, just like a wine taster, it's the same exact type of thing. Cannabis, I even think cannabis eventually is going to beat out wine tasting, which would be absolutely insane, but I truly do. And it's healthier for you. In Jesus' name, it sure is, okay? And in this generation, not everybody needs to use marijuana, but there are so many people that are addicted to things that are killing them. A safe alternative would be a way, way better option than all the people that are dying in their addiction to hard drugs and alcohol. I mean, there's no doubt about that, Savager. I mean, not to mention all the different things that cannabis does for people who are dying from diseases, right? I mean, listen, let's not even open up that can of worms. We'll go on all night. Ooh-wee. The flavor on this one is super interesting, guys. I'm giving the burn on this. We took a minute to actually start judging this stuff. I really wanted to give it like the best representation of what you guys are going to get if you buy it for yourself as I possibly can. Because so far, I sound like I'm crapping all over it, but it's just not as good. Clutch competes with themselves, guys. We already know this. They're so consistently gas and fire and top shelf that they're really competing with themselves at the end of the day. And I mean, listen, you can challenge me on that as well. There are periods where they dipped in quality, but every single time I feel like Clutch Cannabis dipped in quality, and I said the same things at one point in time for a few months, brother. Their stuff was just like way less flavorful and really dry. And it's because it was old, okay? And that's why I'm saying this stuff, guys. If it's sitting out longer and you're waiting longer to package it up, think about the process that cannabis has to go through, right? In a dispensary. They grow it in the facility, they harvest it, then they cure it. They have to send it to a lab to get tested for terpene and THC content and other cannabinoids, right? Then it gets sent back, then it gets packaged, then it gets sent to the dispensary, then it sits on a shelf until somebody decides to buy it, right? So it's already at a big disadvantage when it comes to freshness already when you're buying stuff out of a legal dispensary. Whobalicious said, when it comes to Clutch, I think I know how good their weed can be. So anytime it's not at that level, yeah, dude, I feel the exact same way, guys. I'm not crapping all over this. It's still really good flower. But compared to that Rainbow Izzity Ice, and even the syrups, man, the syrups was fire as well. It's not really holding a candle to either one of those. And if I'm being real, now, like I said, never judge a book by its cover, savages, right? But the way that this one is looking, cooking, and smelling, oh my gosh. Did you guys see the video for the Versace that I uploaded last night? Do you see the amount of keef on the outside of my fingers and my hand? And how sticky it is, even, and all that keef still stuck to my finger, bro. This stuff is looking promising as all get out. I heard a lot of positive comments and remarks from a lot of the bud tenders when I picked it up yesterday. And a lot of those people are connoisseurs like myself, so they definitely know what they're talking about. So I'm really excited for this one. Not to mention, guys, harvest to package date is a lot sooner on this one as well, man. And it's definitely, you can tell, not just in the stickiness, but you can definitely tell with that as well. The way that it punches you in the face as soon as you put the, or crack the seal on this one, excuse me. This one is starting to hit me in terms of the effects, guys. So we're going to get into that in a second. Sheesh. But anyway, the Versace is smelling and looking ridiculous. That's all you savages need to know for right now. Stay tuned tomorrow evening, and we're going to be covering that one as well. And then here in a second, before we hop off for tonight's review, maybe I'll give you guys a little rapid review of the Eye Crusher. Why not? Sheesh. I'll tell you one thing, man. If this stuff wasn't drying my mouth out and the back of my throat out as harshly as it was, let me show you guys real quick, bro. Let me show you. Excuse me. This stuff definitely dries your mouth out. Cottonmouth King here. But the burn on this is actually not that bad, man. It was a little choppy in the beginning, but to be 100% real with you guys, overall, I'm giving the burn on this stuff an 8.8 out of 10. It started rocky, but it's been burning so uniform ever since then. I'm not going to knock off too many points for that. It's not going to get baseline top shelf ranges. And listen, they listen, bro. They compete with themselves. They really do. They're so consistently fire. And listen, like, the last 6 months, you guys have to imagine and keep in mind, I got to try 6 out of the dozen new flavors that excuse me. We forgot to turn the camera around. Sheesh, I'm definitely starting to feel this one. It's indica dominant, and even though it's only 22.2% on the Delta 9 overall, that's like the overall bottom line number for the THC. That just goes to show you guys, I say it all the time, bro. THC doesn't necessarily correlate to how you're going to feel. And I know that doesn't sound right. You're like, what are you talking about? Why wouldn't the THC percentage correlate to how strong the stuff is, right? Well, I always kind of explain it like this, right? The THC percentage is basically telling you how quick you're going to get there. But the terpene percentage is telling you how far you're going to go. Sheesh. The terp number tells you how strong the effect is going to be, right? The THC percentage tells you how quickly you're going to get there. How many of these J's do you have to burn down to get that desired effect, right, of the medicine? Do you have to do one? Or after a joint, which you should never actually experience, do you tend to feel like you're not satisfied or it didn't do its job, right? That's kind of where it divides and kind of where it contrasts and compares when it comes to THC and the terpene percentages, okay? And a lot of people, they don't look at it this way. The average consumer, at least this is what I noticed in my brief time. Imagine, guys, it was a decently brief amount of time that I spent working at the dispensary, right? Because of the gang stalking and all that absolute garbage and satanic ritual abuse. So unfortunately, it didn't last as long as I would have personally liked it to. But in my time doing that, right, what I started to notice is that most of the people that were coming in, whether it been medical patients or recreational customers, okay, most of those people were always looking for the strongest THC percentage because they really thought that meant it was going to be the strongest flower. But that's not necessarily the case, guys. It's really not. I've had THC testing on flower that come out to like 16, 17%. A great example of this is the Sour Blue Diesel from Buckeye Relief. That stuff typically comes out no higher than 19%. And if you rip on that after waking up, sativa, great with coffee, that stuff will knock you off your boots, dog, at 19% THC. But the reason why is because the terps are off the charts. It's absolutely delectable. It's like a sour, funky, citrusy, diesel-y, like gasoline, morning sativa style strain. And it's absolutely incredible, but it only peaks at like 19% THC, guys, okay? So this is getting an 8.8 out of 10 when it comes to the burn, just shy of tippy top shelf ranges. It's not bad whatsoever, but it's not quite as consistent and not quite as excellent to be getting a top shelf rating, guys. It's just underneath that, sitting at an 8.8. The flavor on this stuff, guys, the cinnamon milk smells better than it tastes. That's the best thing I can kind of say about it right now, and the best way to explain it and describe it. It smells a lot better than it actually tastes. Not that it tastes bad, but it definitely doesn't taste as, like promising, right? Like this one, you smell it. Just for instance, let me go ahead and show you guys, like right now in the flesh, right? Oh my good gracious, guys. You smell that? And it really gives off like this energy of, ooh, this has some serious potential. And then one more again for anyone that's just now joining. Look at this stuff. I mean, seriously, it almost looks perfect. And I don't like saying that anything looks perfect. You always have to leave room for improvement, right? But look at that stuff, bro. Even on the live stream level camera quality, which is not really all that great, it's better than it was, though, man. Drop it down in the chat, guys. You liking the camera quality? Is it better or worse? I need you guys to let me know. I need the opinion of the Savage Army straight up. I'm trying to dial this stuff in now, guys, that we're actually able to kind of get back up on our feet and all that good stuff after everything last year. Sheesh. And as you guys can hear, man, this stuff definitely dries out the throat. Even after sipping on some water, bro, that's looking fire, though. Even after sipping on water, it definitely dries out your mouth. Give me a second, guys. We're about to cook on this H2O. No Bobby Boucher, okay? Sheesh. But the flavor on this stuff, man, if I'm going to keep it a bean 75, it smells almost like a baked apple pie with like, how do I say, they explain it as creaminess. All I know is that it smells sweet. It definitely has like a decent level of sweetness there, especially coming in off the back, more so on the exhale. But when you're burning it down and combusting it, it more so tastes like the original cereal milk with just a little bit of fruitiness, a little bit more dankness, but it still has that kind of bad aftertaste, guys. And it's a little bit difficult to explain, honestly, but the aftertaste of their original cereal milk was kind of like dirty work boots, guys. And I'm not even trying to be funny. It's just like a really offensive flavor. And it doesn't correlate with the name of the strain at all, right? Cereal milk sounds like it's going to taste phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. And I think what they're going for the flavor on that is like Cinnamon Toast Crunch milk. Like after the cereal's gone, like that flavor specifically. Not like Fruit Loops or Apple Jacks or anything like that. They're really going for like Cinnamon Toast Crunch, right? Like cinnamon and apples type of cereal milk, right? That's not really what it's giving off though. And this one, it is better than the cereal milk. It still retains a little bit of that original flavor, if that makes any type of sense, guys. I have to bring that up just to kind of bring you guys into the context of it for anybody that's actually tried that cereal milk, okay? It's not going to be that many people, but for the ones that know, you guys know. Just like the Pac-Man Jones, if you guys remember the original release of the Pac-Man Jones from the Cookies collab, I'm surprised they even brought that back. Not to be, you know what I mean, but I'm honestly surprised they even brought that back. It was so bad. They literally kind of gave it away, if that makes any type of sense. And that's like the only time they've ever done that, right? But if they did bring it back, I would assume that it's probably a lot better today. I noticed when I looked on the website the other day that the THC is a lot higher. It used to be like 13, 14%. It was like criminally low. It was definitely by far the lowest THC percentage I've seen on anything out of the dispensary, and definitely anything from the company, right? At the time that they originally released that. But to the date, it's like 23%, I believe, overall in the overall THCA, maybe like 24%, which is definitely a whole heck of a lot better than it was when it first came out. And it is a cross of Jealousy F2, bro. Jealousy F2 and some type of Sherb cross, if I'm not mistaken. So it sounds amazing, right? But I'm kind of sketched out to try it, right? Because I'm kind of traumatized from that original experience. I didn't even do a video on it. That's how bad it was. Because I really didn't want to be all that negative, right? Even on this one, since I am a little disappointed with the cinnamon milk, we're not really completely crapping on it. I'm just giving you guys an honest description and opinion of my overall experience here. And for anybody in the chat right now that does this the same way that I do, that twists it up in a paper, because let me tell you, if you're combusting flour, the best way to taste the terpenes is definitely in a joint, guys. There is no shadow of a doubt. For me personally, we're using Raw Classics tonight. Now, guys, listen. Typically, the Savage will be using a Raw Black King Size Pape, okay? Because they're super thin, and they really give you the best representation of the terpene profile of whatever strain you're roasting, right? That paper is amazing, okay? It's not putting any additives in there. It's not really no chemicals, if that makes sense. It's like original hemp paper with no type of bleaching in the glue and stuff, no chalk on the outside of the paper to make everything look like it's burning white. Just absolutely disgusting. And yes, I'm looking at you, Zigzag. I'm looking at you, Bugler. top papers, okay? We could list so many. The point is, if you're going to roast a J, use something that's actually going to be giving you a good representation of the quality of your flour. And what I mean by that, right? If something burns good in a raw paper, you know without a shadow of a doubt that it's because you got gas, right? You're roasting on some Savage certified pack. We'll just go ahead and put it like that. Okay, when you're using other papers, a lot of these other companies, Savage Army, and you can look into this stuff for yourself, man. It's not really that hard to dig into and to find out, right? I found out the hard way because I used to buy some of those papers, and you'll notice that when you're smoking a Zigzag or a Bugler paper or any of these other brands, right? The ash always has like this thick outer coating to it that shouldn't be there, and it's from the paper itself, right? When you roast anything, even if it's Reggie Jackson, if it's Mid-City, okay, Mitten City, even the worst weed, right, is not going to make it burn like that out of a raw paper because it's all natural. Even these classics, right, which I prefer the blacks. You guys already know that if you've been rocking with the Savage for a minute. And hey, why not? I'm going to start trying to do more stuff like this during the stream. So we're practicing right now. So we're going to get better at some of these things, guys. You have to do things consistently and water those seeds. One of the keys to becoming successful is being subpar at something long enough and not caring about doing it publicly until you become excellent at something, right? So the reason that we got so seasoned in reviews is because we've done so many of them, if that makes any type of sense. And this is actually kind of in addition to the way that we did reviews originally, right? Because we only ever did one live stream review in like 2.5 years, right? So doing it this way now, it's actually kind of like a breath of fresh air for me, right? Because you get jaded after a while doing regular video reviews for so long. This is a nice change of pace, to be 100% honest. You guys can sit there and roast whatever you guys are roasting on. Hopefully it's some Savage certified pack. Drop it down in the comment section what you're roasting on if you're just now joining the stream. And drop it in the comment section what your favorite rolling paper is, guys. My favorite is Raw. It's not the only paper that's clean to use. There are plenty of other papers. And Josh Kesselman, the CEO of Raw, the company Raw, right? He is such a down-to-earth dude and such a real genius and nerd when it comes to rolling papers and the history of rolling papers, man. The amount of care that he puts into the product is unprecedented. Absolutely unprecedented. And we don't make no money for talking about raw papers or clutch cannabis, right? Like, genuinely, I'm a huge fan of all their products, right? And he has more than just one line of papers, man. Anybody in the chat, did you guys know that Josh Kesselman also owns Juicy J's? We grew up on Juicy J's, bro. The flavored papes. The papes that have, like, bananas on the outside of them, apples on the outside of them, mangoes on the outside of them. And they never tasted that great, but I never knew that he was the guy that made those, bro. And then what's the other one, man? Somebody help me out if any of you guys know. He's got the Juicy J's, the raw papes, but there's another one that's actually really good that I can't think of off the top of my dome piece. But anyway, back to the overall review of the Sin Milk, right? 8.8 out of 10 overall when it comes to the burn here. Definitely above average. But I was slightly disappointed. Definitely in the beginning of the way it burned when we first sparked it up, for sure. But as we burned it down, it slowly started to correct itself. And then right there at the roach piece, it was burning almost perfectly. Honestly, guys, I showed you, man. I mean, the Savage Army's seen it for themselves, right? It was burning almost picture perfect at the roach. The problem is, I wanted it to burn like that since we sparked it up all the way through. And it basically didn't start burning perfectly until the very end of the J. So unfortunately, it didn't quite achieve top shelf ranges. For the flavor, man, I gotta be real, guys. I can't give that top shelf, that's for sure. It don't taste bad. It smells better than it tastes, for sure. It almost tastes like, kind of like a biscotti with like the cinnamon spice type of vibe coming in off the exhale and off the back end. It's not terrible, but I wish that it translated more accurately from the actual aroma and the nose to the flavor on this one. And I just got to keep it $1.75, Savage Army. But it's not terrible. It's still pretty decent. It's just not top shelf. We're going to have to go 8.6 out of 10 when it comes to the flavor on the cinnamon milk. Kind of disappointing, but to be honest, it's miles away and miles better than that original cereal milk. I mean, that's just the real business, guys, for sure. And real quick, man, let me catch up with y'all. Mystical, God bless you, man. Welcome to the stream. I used to use flavored Philly cigars. Hey, man, if you guys are new to the channel, you might not know this, bro. And by the way, one more time, right? Just to convince myself. Oh, guys, come on, bro. This stuff really does smell really good. I guarantee you, if it was a little bit fresher from harvest to the package, I'm telling you, this stuff would have tasted so much better. This smells phenomenal. I mean, guys, come on, man. Look at the size of that. That looks like a broccoli stalk, dude. Come on, man. Savages. It looks amazing. But that's a great example of why we should never judge any flower just off the looks alone, right? Because something could look phenomenal and dang near perfect, but that doesn't necessarily mean the overall experience is going to be the exact same way. Does that make sense? And in the same regard, right? Some of the best flour I've ever had in my God-given life has actually been stuff that looked pretty inoffensive, you know what I mean? Like, not crazy by any stretch of the imagination. You definitely wouldn't be getting away with upcharging on it. You'd have to be selling that at, like, a reasonable price because nobody's going to look at it and be like, well, that's nothing special. But I'm telling you guys, some of the best stuff I've ever had in my life has actually been flour that, to be honest, just on the eyes, didn't really look like much, you know what I mean? Didn't really look like too much. But on the actual burn and on the flavor and the effect even, man, some of the strongest flour I've ever had was pretty inoffensive looking stuff. Just some regular looking stuff. Not dry, not brown for sure, right? It didn't look bad, but it don't look crazy. Some of the better stuff I've ever had. On the same note, right? Some of the best stuff I've ever had doesn't necessarily, like looks-wise, doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to end up smoking that way, right? And that was kind of the case tonight for the cinnamon milk. It's definitely well above average. I think overall in like the complete package and the complete experience here, if it was just a little bit fresher, I'm telling you guys, this would have been so much better. It didn't burn bad. It doesn't taste bad either. It's just not the inhale, bro. The harshness on the inhale, it dries your throat out so bad, dude. Actually, give me 1 second, y'all. Big sheesh. It dries the back of your throat out a decent bit, bro. And that's really my biggest complaint here. It's not like terrible. It's not bad. It's definitely good weed, right? But like I said, they compete with themselves. And I guarantee you, this Versace, bro, this stuff looks incredible. It smells ridiculous. And even if I compare this stuff to both of the strains from Clutch that we just tried last weekend, it's not really holding a candle to the syrups or the rainbow ice. And that's just the thick and the thin of it, guys. That's my honest opinion. It's not holding a candle to either one of those strains. That doesn't mean that it's bad, but I would definitely pick this up. Disregard that, y'all. I would definitely pick this up on a sale, right? I would not be paying $45 plus tax for the cinnamon milk. That's just me, and that's just trying to save anybody out there, any of you savages who are planning on picking this stuff up, or maybe any of you guys that already have. If you've tried this stuff and maybe you think something a little bit differently compared to my opinion here, let me know what you guys thought about the cinnamon milk. It's definitely an acquired taste, bro. That's all I'm going to say about that. It's an acquired taste. It's not a bad flavor. It's just not fantastic. 8.6 out of 10 when it comes to the taste. Disregard the background noise, Savage Army. We gotta catch up with some emails and stuff when we get off stream tonight. Big sheesh. But 8.6 on the flavor, 8 on the burn. And then when it comes to the effect and the overall rating, listen, guys, honestly, I wasn't really expecting like super potent effects because even compared to the THC percentage, which isn't that crazy to begin with, it's only like 22% baseline, right? The terpene percentage isn't like crazy. It's actually pretty decent compared to a lot of the stuff that they've been dropping in the last like 6 to 7 months. Maybe even the last 12 months, man. Time has been flying, Savage Army. Absolutely insane that we're already about to peek into like winter seasons here soon. What? absolute big sheesh. People's kids are about to be going back to school. Where did the summer go, guys? Am I right, man? Drop it in the comment section. What kind of summer did you savages have, man? Cleveland said no filth. I used to use flavored Philly cigars. Yeah. We started roasting blunts, man. The thing that I started roasting on when I first started roasting as a teenager were White Owl cigars. I don't think I really ever got into the Phillies myself because they were primarily a little bit more expensive in my area, at least. Maybe not for everybody, but they were more expensive than the 99 cent, what was they? The Good Time cigars. If even everybody has that brand, it's called Good Time Cigars. And the reason that I picked those up over any other brand, right? Even over Swisher Sweets, which when I was growing up, bro, everybody was smoking on blunts, right? It was the thing to do. It was like the popular thing to do was to roll blunts. The reason I started is because I wasn't good enough to roll papers, bro. I wasn't good enough. So in my opinion at the time, joints sucked, right? Because I didn't know how to roll a good joint, so my experience with joints was garbage, right? So it was easier for me to learn how to roll blunts, okay? And I still remember it, which is crazy. It was years ago, sitting in my room watching a YouTube video about how to roll, right? And learning how to roll in my room, bro, as a teenager, right? Working at Mickey D's, bro. My first job, Mickey Donald, son. Grinding at Mickey D's back then for the gas pack. Straight up, Savage really was doing that, bro. And making mixtapes and stuff. And then everything went down the toilet when we got on heroin and fentanyl. Sheesh. But God is so good, he pulled me out of all that long ago, man. Sheesh. It's been a... Listen, man, that's what life is like, bro. It's like a roller coaster. You got ups, you got downs, man. But just like everything else, that season too shall pass. Straight up, man. And you can overcome anything. It doesn't matter what you do in your life. If you mess up, like, profoundly, that's not the end for you, brother. The only thing that's going to be the end for you is if you stop waking up. If you keep waking up, bro, keep getting back up. Just like the Bible says, man, the righteous fall 7 times, but keep getting back up. They don't never stay down. Big sheesh. So, the cinnamon milk, in terms of the effect, it's not the strongest thing that I've ever tried from the Cookies collaboration. Not by any stretch of the imagination. Now we're spitting bars, bro, on the live stream review, sheesh. As you guys can tell, this stuff has me feeling kind of euphoric, slightly amused. It is an indica dominant smoke, and it's really not that bad, man. I like the way that it's kind of got me relaxed here late in the evening, right? I feel like this would be an absolutely perfect strain to roast on right before laying down for bed. And me personally, what I am using this for, and the reason I even have a prescription for this stuff in the first place, it's actually not bad to alleviate and kind of, how do I say, extend relief to certain symptoms that I'm even using cannabis for in the first place, right? So to be 100% honest, my biggest complaint here is that it's just a little bit too harsh on the inhale. Maybe I made it sound a little bit more exaggerated than it actually is, because a lot of people are going to smoke this, I can already tell you, and think that it's absolutely fire. We're grading this on a connoisseur level scale, guys, if that makes any type of sense. So the average consumer would probably think this is absolute fire. My biggest thing is that it dries your mouth out so bad, it kind of mitigates the flavor. And it kind of ruins your palate of getting actually like the best representation of the overall flavor of it, right? So for those reasons alone, 8.6 out of 10 on the flavor and the effect. It's not super strong, but the effects are pleasant. We're just going to say it and put it like that, Savage Army. It's not super strong. It's not going to put you to bed. But if you roast on this stuff right before bed, super relaxing, man. Super relaxing. Like in a way where it's got me slightly cheesing, guys. I mean, look at me right now. Come on, man. Happy Savage Saturday night, by the way, guys. Welcome each and every single last one of you savages. For anybody that's just joining the stream, if you enjoy it at any given point in time, smack it. Give us some juicy savage positivity and rack it with a big fat sexy juicy savage thumbs up. You guys already know what's up. Big sheesh. In the name of Jesus, amen. And since we're already here live, why not? This overall, not top shelf ranges by any stretch of the imagination. We just got to keep it a $1.50. I never lie to you guys about any of these reviews, man, because listen, if something's not worth the money, for people that really care about that type of stuff, right? The economy is bad right now, guys. At the end of the day, we already know that. You guys don't need me to explain that. So if you could save money on something that, you know what I mean, you wouldn't feel was worth the overall price of admission, if you're a rec patient and you don't have access to a medical discount, I can't recommend this at full price. For the price that I picked it up for, I could absolutely recommend it, absolutely, for even trying it one time, right? Especially if you never did try the cereal milk, because then you wouldn't even have that bias in the back of your head. You wouldn't have any idea what to expect with these genetics, right? And this isn't even a cereal milk cross, but cereal milk is crossed with cereal a la mode, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody correct me in the comments if I am mistaken, but I don't think that I am. I feel like if it was a little bit fresher, it would have been a whole heck of a lot better. But since that was not the case, overall, that cinnamon milk from Cookies with the collaboration with Clutch Cannabis, grown by Clutch Cannabis, coming out of Akron, Ohio, big sheesh. It's so good to be back to doing this, Savage Army. Honestly, man, you guys already know what's up. This stuff is getting an 8.5 out of 10. And that might sound a little bit harsh. 8.5 is still a really decent score, though, Savage Army. It's not bad whatsoever, right? 144 on the live stream timer. Synchronicity and confirmation, big sheesh, okay? But that's not a bad score. It's just not as good as their stuff typically is. And just like Day One Savage Hubalicious said a little bit ago, when a company is as consistent like Clutch Cannabis, you kind of come to expect a certain level of quality with everything they put out, right? And I definitely have kind of become accustomed to expect the tippiest of top shelf experiences, especially with their flower, right, Savage Army? So this stuff, while it's not as good as it normally would be, and as good as it could be, I should say that as well, because like I said, guys, right, not to beat it over the head, if they packaged this sooner, I already know for a fact that this stuff would have been so much better. So much better, right? We're picking it apart because we're a critic, man. It's what we do here, right? And when you try as many things as a critic would, you kind of have to get down to the nitty gritty to separate all these different strains, right? And really, like, give you guys a representation of exactly what to expect when you purchase this with your hard-earned money. Okay, so probably the longest review that you'll ever find on YouTube, bro. But that's what's unique about the Savage Army here, man. And if you guys are new and you enjoy the content, like it and subscribe to it, man. Push this in the YouTube algorithm, get it pushed out to more savages, especially when we do these guys. Because if you're not aware, cannabis content on YouTube, they don't like that, bro. They absolutely don't like that. So most of the time, YouTube itself doesn't really want to push any type of cannabis related content, especially content where you're literally using cannabis on camera. But what kind of review would it be if I didn't give you guys the entire experience? Don't get me wrong, y'all. I've thought about doing that before, but I don't even think it would feel worth it to do it like that. Because if I was watching a review, there's no way, bro. No doubt. If I can't see somebody roasting it, I don't even really want to watch that review. Does that make any type of sense, Savage Army? But over the years, YouTube has gotten so harsh and aggressive with the cannabis and policy content, the policies when it comes to cannabis content. They view it in such a way where it's like the only thing you can really do to sometimes get through the algorithm and get through that age restriction, right, is barely talk about it and not show it whatsoever. But even then, the way that AI is monetizing and going into every single one of these systems on YouTube, guys, it used to be real people that were analyzing people's videos for age restriction and stuff. Now it's a machine. Now it's a robot, bro. It's a computer. So to get past a computer is super difficult, guys. It's super difficult. So that's why right now, the state of cannabis and the cannabis laws, if I'm being honest, guys, and, you know, time will tell, and it's going to take more time for us to even be able to tell, but the way I see it right now is this. For some reason, a lot of these legal states that have been legalized for an extended time now at this point, and by the way, 8.5 out of 10 for the cereal milk is not bad. It's way better than the original the cinnamon milk, is way better than the original cereal milk. It's just not as good as it could be. It's not living up to the potential that Clutch Cannabis is known for, that we just experienced last week. And if I'm being 100% honest, guys, that we're probably going to experience again tomorrow evening when we try this stuff out. Bro, let me just give you guys a live reaction of what this stuff smells like on camera right now. This is the Versace with a Z in the middle. Never heard of either of the strains that are actually crossed together to make this strain. Never in my life. Oh my gosh, bro. That stuff smells absolutely insane and ridiculous, cousin. Let me show you guys what this looks like real quick, man. It's getting me pumped up. Sheesh. Hold up, y'all. Let me dump these out. Oh my goodness, bro. Look at this stuff, dude. Come on, Savage Army. This stuff right here is also indica dominant, but dude, these buds literally feel like sponge cake, dog. Sponge cake, Savage Army. And it smells ridiculous. I'm not even going to try to describe what the nose is like because I want to save that for the review. But look at the keef on my finger, guys. I wasn't telling you no fibs. The Versace is looking and smelling ridiculous, guys. Listen to the Savage's throat piece, dude. That cinnamon milk dried out my mouth so crazy. It's insane. So, 8.5 out of 10 when it comes to the cinnamon milk from Cookies, grown by Clutch out here in Ohio. Savage Army, this stuff right here. Oh my good gracious, guys. Now, keep in mind, they've dropped a lot of new stuff, especially, in the last 6 months? I know this sounds insane, but they had to have dropped like 20 new strains. Honestly, it could even be 30. Because if you factor in, right? If you factor in everything from the Clutch line, the baseline Clutch line, which is like their top shelf premium offering, right? Cookies is basically right there alongside that in terms of quality, at least the way they advertise the cookie stuff. And to be honest, just from like a consumer and critic experience in that perspective, they really are kind of neck and neck. If I'm being honest, like I've tried some strains from the Clutch line that weren't really the best, and I've tried some from this line that weren't really the best. But if I'm being real, overall, both of them are super consistent. And at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter because it's all grown by the same team, right? But I would be curious to wonder and curious to know, right? If they have separate sub-teams within the facility that grow the different genetics, right? Like if they have a certain grow team for the Clutch line, or if they have a certain grow team for the cookie stuff, or a certain grow team for the Citizen line. And then you have the Habitat line, which is like the consumer affordable friendly line that Clutch put out about a year ago, which is absolutely phenomenal, by the way. And what the Habitat line is, for anyone that doesn't know, this is actually kind of cool if you don't know, is basically some of the old strains that they got rid of. And Sherbhead was actually in the Habitat line as the Pineberry Sorbet for a decent period of time before they just ended up bringing the Sherbhead back. So I don't know if they're still doing both. That would kind of be weird. But I think it's grown slightly differently. The Habitat flower is absolutely wonderful. I mean, absolutely wonderful, guys. You have no idea. Every single batch, the nuggets were so massive, it was insane. I mean, Clutch Cannabis has decent sized nugs usually, right? Like even if I pull one of these bad boys out, or maybe just a couple of them, why not? Let's grab a couple chicken nuggets here, YouTube, okay? Look at the size of these guys right here. They're decent sized nugs. This is like a medium nug. This is more of like, I mean, it's not small, right? But it's not quite medium. This is usually what you come to expect when you get the 3.5s, which used to be the 10s from Clutch Cannabis. The Habitat stuff, absolutely massive when it comes to the size of those nugs, guys. And it's cheaper. You know what's crazy, bro? Every single time we get ready to end stream, no matter what type of stream it is, the stream always starts cutting and buffering, dude. It's something I've noticed, especially like in the last 6 months since we've been streaming more often. But sheesh, bro, every single time, it's almost as if YouTube knows when I'm almost ready to wrap it up. It's kind of ridiculous, man. The artificial intelligence is growing a mind of its own, Savage Army. And we're joking, but inevitably, I mean, the singularity is definitely something that, you know, is quite plausible to happen. If you guys have never heard or conversated about like the singularity, one of my late best friends actually started talking to me about this type of stuff when we were like 17, 18, coming out of high school. And rest in peace to him, dude. One of the day one homies, for real, bro. He actually committed suicide because of going through gang stalking. How absolutely insane is that? He committed suicide and left his children behind because he experienced the same exact garbage that we just experienced last summer leading into the entire winter season for me, right? So the reason I get so passionate about that stuff, guys, not to even get into it, but just for context, right, is because, like, personally, my best friend, man, coming out of high school, literally killed himself over stuff like that. And he was a strong man, dude. Like, mentally, he was definitely stronger than I'll ever be. So to get to the point where he did that, just absolutely insane, right? But anyway, how did we get from cannabis to that? I forget how I was meshing that together, Savage Army. So, if you're wondering, right, the effects on the cinnamon milk, they ain't bad, but they're not crazy, right? It's not going to put you to sleep, but it'll relax you before you lay down to go to sleep. Actually, it'll give you an appetite too, because right now, I got the Munchie, Savage Army, Big Sheesh, and I don't really get the Munchies from that many strains, if I'm being honest, but this one automatically, like almost 10 to 15 minutes after we put that out, already got my stomach grumbling. What kind of stuff is that? Well, keep in mind, I ain't really ate anything so far today, but to be honest, bro, I'm kind of used to doing that. I can usually tell when a strain is like a Munchie strain. You know what I mean? The cinnamon milk will definitely give you the Munchie, Savage Army. So for anybody that kind of has a problem eating and they have eating disorders and stuff, maybe this would be a perfect strain for you. I don't know. But real quick, before we do skate on out of here, guys, we're going to read a few comments, man. We're so bad about that, guys. We try to get a little bit better at reading the comments every single stream. Bear with me, guys. We're still literally in our first year of live streaming. And honestly, man, by the grace and glory of the Most High God, we've actually been pretty successful in such a short amount of time. So the more we do this and the more we get back into season and all these things, the better it's going to be. The quality's going to go up. And listen, I'm not saying too much. Something that you guys, right? My day one savages like Austin, Hoobalicious, Motorized Lifting, Alec, Alec. If you're in here, brother, God bless you, man. We're about to catch up with chat here in a second. My day one savages have been asking me to do for like 2 years, guys. 2 years. That is coming to the channel very soon. I can't say exactly what it is for obvious reasons, right? But all I got to say is this. When it comes out, a lot of you guys, I think, are going to be excited to see it, man. So I can't wait to show you guys that. It's going to take a little bit of time still. We're just now kind of getting back into the swing of things and coming back with the reviews after all this time. But we've had some crazy ideas when it comes to cannabis-related content for a really long time, right? But because of the stuff I was going through last year, there was no way I could do it, right? I mean, I think that was part of the point of what the people that were coming up against me had in mind, right? To kind of stop me from even trying to do stuff like this in the first place, right? So we weren't able to do it. Now, let's just say we're going to be able to do it, okay? And it's super exciting. I'm super excited. I wish I could talk about it specifically right now, but we're going to just shout it out there, right? Something to look forward to, right? In the next like 3 to 4 weeks, Savage Army. So mark it on the calendar, right? Savage is dropping a pretty decent sized surprise. We'll just say it like that. And if you guys can't tell, this is a slow you down type of indica, right? Somebody like me, Savage, who fires off a mile a minute, who's just like, my brain is just going crazy thinking about so many things at one time. My speed isn't for everybody, if that makes any type of sense, right? This stuff actually has me like slowed down, a little bit relaxed, right? A little bit more like vibed out, chill, contained, thinking about one thing, one singular thing at a time, right? So for anybody that has like racing thoughts, ADHD as they like to call it in our society today, or anything of this nature, the cinnamon milk might also be pretty positive for you in terms of relief for those medical ailments. But other than that, guys, if you're just shopping based on a recreational market, I got to keep it a bean. There are definitely much better options when it comes to the Cookies collaboration from Clutch. And I just got to be honest, guys. I know that sounds negative, But in terms of just cannabis, right? If we're not even talking about brands, right? Or any legal state, just for the plant's sake, right? This is some absolutely fire stuff. It's still really good quality, guys. You've seen it burn fairly well the entire J. Had that nice, thick, delicious terp ring, albeit not quite as thick as cookie stuff usually would be, which is why I got an 8.5 out of 10, guys. Mystical. Weed really didn't know what it was. Then I took a puff. Oh, you're writing song lyrics in the chat. God bless you, brother. And welcome to the Savage Army. Have a good night, Cleveland. Best reviews on YouTube, Savage. Listen, first off, thank you, kind sir, if you are a gentleman, right? But if I'm being 100% honest with you, Savages, man, and I always aim to keep it a bean 75, right? The reviews are really cool to be back and doing them as live streams, but if I'm being 100% honest, I feel like I'm a little bit rusty when it comes to doing the reviews since it has been so long and we've been doing such wildly different content for so long on the channel now. We're going to take a little bit of time to kind of get the rust off, you know what I mean? And then, yes, sir, when it comes to the cannabis reviews in the state of Ohio, the king has come back to sit on his throne. Guys, I even gave so much time for somebody else to start doing it if they wanted to do it. I was completely cool with that, but nobody started really doing it, Savage Army. I think there were a couple channels, but they stopped uploading like years ago, if that makes any type of sense. So I'm like, you know what? This is what I started the channel doing. I've prayed to God about this and asked about this for a long time. I mean, personally, God would know because he's the only person I talk to about stuff like that. He knows how much I wanted that. You know what I mean? And how hard I worked to attain it, if that makes any type of sense. And listen, there's no glory in a game like that, in a game like the MMJ industry in the state of Ohio. I can't speak on any of the other states, you know, and especially YouTube, right? Doing that on YouTube. There's no glory in that. You truly just have to be doing it because you really enjoy doing it. And that's why we're doing it now. We really enjoy doing it, Savage Army. So, since nobody else started it, it's back and it's here to stay. So for anybody wondering if they're going to go away again, they're here to stay, guys. The only way I'm ever going to stop doing these at this point is if I personally get tired of doing it. And I just don't think that's going to be the case. I think doing classic Savage content like Savage Gaming and the live stream reviews or even video reviews, right, is a absolutely perfect way to balance out all the serious stuff that I'm doing literally almost every single day. On an energetic level, guys, I need it. You know what I mean? And especially for the people who've been super patient waiting on these reviews to return, this is seriously like a love letter, guys. I teared up. I'm not even ashamed to say it, man. It was a really bittersweet moment. I teared up when I first came back like 2 weeks ago doing reviews because God actually told me finally through the Spirit, finally, after every test he put me through, got to the point where I was literally okay if I didn't even do YouTube anymore because he taught me how to be happy just because of my relationship with him. And he had to teach me all these different things, man. And he finally told me it's cool for me to do them again. And I've been waiting on that for such a long period of time, man. You guys have no idea. And just the bittersweet feeling of coming back after all the stuff I just went through, guys. Even the stuff that you've seen on the channel that I showed you guys is like nothing, brother. It really is like nothing, man. And I keep a lot of stuff to myself just because, like, I'm not trying to put anybody else's personal business out there. I'm just trying to help other people that are going through stuff like that, if that makes any type of sense, and I feel called to do it. But my life is to a certain extent at this point, and it's to a certain point that it's like we're getting back to doing what I would have done initially if that gang stalking never happened. If that makes any type of sense, like creatively, we're getting back on that avenue now and doing it 100% in full force. Even the way I do my pastoring and my preaching, I try to make, you know, authentic, genuine, and unique to me in the Savage Army, if that makes any type of sense. And it's going to continue to be that way. The only difference is now we're going to be able to get back to the stuff that started the channel and the stuff that I'm super passionate about, right? If that makes any type of sense. And keeping it on the weekends, man, perfect ratio, man. Perfect balance, perfect ratio. Preaching during the week, saving souls during the week, coaching during the week, and working my 9 to 5. And on the weekend, we're letting loose, man. Classic Savage weekend. Life is about having a balance, man. A complete and total balance. Most people's lives are out of order because their life is like leaning way too far in a certain direction, if that makes any type of sense, guys. And this is also something that God has taught me humbly a lot the last few years, how to have a balance. And I would know, right? Because I used to be the type of person that my life would always lean so much further in one category. I would either work way too much, work way too less, eat way too much bad food, or not eat at all. Like, do you guys see? I always lean towards an extreme, one way or the other. Now I finally know how to have a balance, man. Anyway, we're going off on a rant tangent, but I'm super excited to be able to do stuff like this again. And the live stream reviews, without giving away too much right now, the live stream reviews ain't the only thing that's going to be on the weekends, guys. We're also going to be doing other stuff, other unique stuff. Some of it's going to be completely new, like content we've never even done before. And then some of it, like Savage Gaming, is going to come back. And I think the next game that we're going to stream is Resident Evil 9. I don't even, what's it called? Requiem? I cannot wait to play that, dude. I've been waiting and waiting and waiting. And I had to take care of a few things, so like dropping $70 on a video game just was not happening. Here, I think in the next like week to 2 weeks, we're going to be doing a series on Resident Evil 9 on the weekend, and we're going to be able to do the gaming streams with a camera so we can actually sesh and have sessions while we're gaming. And did you savages see that Black Ops 2 just came out remastered for the PS5 with new lobbies, like refreshed lobbies, like no hacking? It's not the PS3 servers. It's completely new servers. There's like millions of people on BO2 right now on PS5 at the same exact time. Savage Army. We got some really cool stuff and really cool content coming in the next upcoming like 2 to 3 weeks. We're getting a little bit too excited right now. Big sheesh. Calm down, Savage. Maybe hit the cinnamon milk just a couple more times. But for anybody wondering, or anybody that's just now joining the stream, sheesh, the cinnamon milk got an 8.5 out of 10. Not quite top shelf ranges, actually. If you really want me to describe it perfectly, it's like ever so slightly above average. It's an 8.5 out of 10 in a connoisseur perspective, right? Compared to all the other stuff that I've tried from this collaboration, and really the growers at that company to begin with, they really do phenomenal stuff, right? Same as Certified Cultivator. Buckeye Relief really does phenomenal stuff, to be 100% honest with you guys. What's the other one that's really good? People love Woodward, but I haven't tried that much Woodward. I've only tried a few things, so I can't really speak on it like confidently, if that makes sense. Let's see here, man. Wait a second. Savage and the song is Bone Thugs and Harmony. It's called Weed Song. Mystical. Bone Thugs and Harmony used to be, I think that was the first like famous people or person of any kind that I came to be hip to, that came out of the state of Ohio. And the reason that's kind of important is because when I was a kid, I really had this idea that it was impossible for somebody out of Ohio to make it big. And I had these big dreams ever since I was a kid, like from childhood to now. We've had really big dreams to do something with our life, right? And I would like to think that God put those in my spirit, because it's something that I just could never shake. No matter what I tried to do, I just never shook those things, if that makes any sense. When I was a kid, I really thought that it was impossible for an Ohioan, for some reason. I have no idea why, right? Because Ohio usually gets kind of a bad rap for a multitude of different reasons, like, and really based in bias, if I'm being honest. Just like people that live in Ohio and live here would say slanderous things about other states, even though they've never been there as well. It's the same thing for the state of Ohio, guys. It's kind of the same for all the states, if I'm being real. Sheesh. But anyway, the point is this. The older I've gotten, the more I've learned about how life actually works, and spirituality and the nature of what is actually happening in this universe, right? And how to operate in it successfully. I've kind of come to the realization that it doesn't matter where you're at, where you're born, what your genetics are, or anything. It's based upon what's on the inside of you and your determination and dedication to take action on those ideas. Whatever it is you can come up with in here, and in here, if you can actualize that with physical action consistently, whatever you're trying to do, you're bound to become successful at on some level. That was profound. Somebody clipped that or bookmarked that. Whatever you take dedicated action on, consistently watering the seeds of what you can come up with from the heart and from your mind, right? you're bound to become successful on some level at whatever it is you're doing. And it's very profound. And I'm confident in that at this point because we've done so many different things on the channel and still retain like the same general audience, if that makes any type of sense, right? Like no matter what content it is, I know this. If you water the same seed every day consistently, it might take a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4. Sometimes it takes longer depending on what seed it is, right? Everything grows differently. Sheesh. But if you don't stop watering that and you lean in on God, now let's not forget about God. He is a very important part of this puzzle, piece of this puzzle, right? You do everything that you can do and you have faith in Him for the rest. The key is the faith. And if you can achieve that, you'll achieve your dreams, guys. I mean, wow. That was like the most basic and brief, on-point explanation of how to attain the life that you want, right? That I think I could have ever come up with. Big sheesh, man. Sheesh. That was like 5 sheeshes. So, let me read a couple more comments, guys, and then we're going to scoot on out of here for tonight. And before we do, real quick, since we're on the live, I didn't know if I was going to do this for sure or not. Let me give you guys just a real quick, rapid review of this new eye crusher I got. Because I don't think I'm going to do just like a dedicated live stream just to try eye crusher, if that makes sense, guys. I did a full-length video on one of these like a year ago, and I don't think... It's just a different flavor. You know what I mean? So to do an entirely new video, I don't know about that. So a rapid review. We might start doing these for like edibles, carts, luster pods, maybe even dabs and wax and stuff like that. I could see the Savage channel, you know what I mean, going towards those directions as well. Something that we didn't really do in the past. But I think for the main reviews, just like it always used to be, guys, it's going to be primarily centered and focused around the flower. Because the Savage is a flower guy. If that sounded a little bit suspicious, but Savage has always been a flower guy. Always been a big fan of flower. I enjoy wax. I enjoy edibles from time to time. And I never enjoyed pens whatsoever until I got these ones from Clutch, right? Not necessarily these eye crushers, but the luster pods. Brother, the full spectrum luster pods, it doesn't really matter what it's in. You could get a cart, right? As long as it's the full spec oil. Bro, when I first tried those, right? For the very first time, Savage Army, it was the first time I ever had a pen that actually tasted like bud, dude. And it tasted like a J. Like it tasted like if you got the ice cream cake luster pod, right? The full spectrum oil, okay? It tasted exactly, bro. Exactly like the ice cream cake flour if you rolled it up and smoked a joint of it. Absolutely ridiculous. And before I tried that for the first time, I had never experienced that ever in my life, right? And because of that, most of my experience with pens was tied to distillate, which, guys, if you're on any level an advocate for marijuana, you already know that distillate is hot poop. It's hot garbage, guys. Not to be uberly negative, but that's really just, it's not really negative, right? It's just the fact. It's not good stuff, you know? People usually get distillate carts because they're low and on a budget, and for that purpose, it's absolutely amazing. For that, it absolutely serves its purpose, right? But to get something that you're going to thoroughly enjoy, the reason that distillate is not that good, it's very low quality cannabis oil, okay? Extracted in ways that is very low quality, okay? And the flavor is not natural. Distillate oil is always flavored with like fake botanical terps, and you can tell that it's not natural. Like the way that it tastes doesn't taste like weed should taste. You know what I mean? Like you'll get distillate pens and they taste like actual food and drinks and stuff like that. Same as like nicotine sticks or nicotine vapes. Disgusting, by the way. But I smoke nicotine for real, so who am I to say? Somebody enjoys a vape, let them enjoy their vape, right? I never liked pens at all until I tried theirs. So maybe I'm a little bit biased. But I've tried a lot of other pens since I tried Clutches, right? And I haven't really found a brand that matches this. Not even from Michigan when I went on my last vacation out there, guys. And they have such a bigger variety of like different brands and companies to choose from and stuff. You would figure, right? And dude, by the way, getting cards from Michigan Oh my gosh, bro. So affordable, it's stupid. Even if you don't have a medical card, guys, you could get like, bro, I mean, they're not great, but still, you could get like 5 1 gram cards for like $20. Like from certain brands and stuff. It's absolutely mind blowing. And I have a hunch eventually, right? Unless they ban it again and like delegalize it, which honestly, I don't want to even say it out loud, but some of the stuff that they're doing right now with the cannabis laws is just a little bit weird, Savage Army. Is it not? Is it not just like a tad bit strange that they're changing some of this stuff like for no reason whatsoever, like cannabis is doing anybody any harm? It has done wonders for the city that I live in. It's done wonders with the tax revenue and all that stuff. They have made millions of dollars in just a few years, right? And that money goes to a lot of good things for the city. And this city needs it, if I'm being, not to shout out my city, but for the ones, you know what I mean, who resonate with being in a hometown, that if they just had a little bit more money to spend on renovation and upgrading, right, it would do wonders for that town. The tax money and revenue from cannabis in just the last 5 years has done profound things for the state of Ohio. It really has. And not just that, on a medicinal level, has gotten so many people off of prescription painkillers and medication from pharmaceutical companies who went from taking 20 pills a day. And I've seen this in so many people, guys, in my personal life, people that I'm close to, that I care about and that I love, right? Taking 20 pills in a day, now not taking no pills, but smoking a joint every day. Taking no medication from a doctor, which unless you're suffering from something that you can only be cured from if you go to a doctor, which is less things than most people think. It's less things. General sicknesses and illnesses and things of this nature can be cured by things that you wouldn't even think, right? But because they lie to everybody, nobody really knows about it. You have to read the Bible and the Word of God to find this stuff out, right? And to put it into practice for yourself and verify it for yourself, you know what I mean? Supposedly Growing Pains out in Michigan is growing some amazing stuff. Wait a second, Day One Savage, Who is Growing Pains? Is that like just a regular brand, like the name for a regular brand? I've never heard of that, and they're coming out with a lot of new brands that I've been seeing recently in the last, month and a half to 2 months that I've never seen, but people are absolutely hyping up to no end. Like, absolutely hyping up. And I'll tell you, since you brought that up, brother, and real quick, man, we're about to try this eye crusher here in just a second. My mouth is so desert dry, guys. It is not even funny. Desert dry. Sheesh, hold up. All right, man. Just like that song from Russ, that just brought me back to life. Sheesh, that really did, dude. I needed that, son. Get hydrated. So, the best brands that I tried from Michigan in the last 3 vacations that I took out there, real quick. It's a smaller batch company. Oh, you already know, bro. We typically enjoy the small batch more than anything else because it's just done with a little bit more tender care and love, a little bit more TLC when it comes to the harvesting and the growing process and the curing process and the way they flush the flower and the way they treat the flower and just they sing to the plants while they're growing them. You know, we're joking, but I would sing to my plants, and not to give away too much, wink, I might sing to my plants here really soon. If the homie's watching, you know what I'm talking about, brother. But, yeah, I think I seen some packaging for Growing Pains or something that sounds really similar to it, but I've never actually, tried it myself. And to be real, besides my Michigan vacations and stuff like that, the only flower I've tried besides that was from Colorado. And if I gotta say this right now, Colorado gets a really bad rap, but if I'm being real, Savage Army, every single batch of flower that I got from Colorado was exquisite. Like, really good, bro. I remember one strain in particular. I can't think of the name, though, and that's killing me. But I remember the experience. It was so good. I haven't found anything since then that even come close to replicating that terpene profile. And the way that it burned and the effect. Oh, my good gracious. Once in a while, you come across some flower, a certain strain that just hits home so on the nail that it's like, it's different than almost anything else for that period of time. If you guys know what I'm talking about, drop it down in the comment section, bro. Like, I feel like when it comes to cannabis, I go through almost like seasons with it. Like, I go through periods and seasons where like I prefer certain terps and certain effects for a few months. And then my body will switch up, or it's like, and here's another thing about cannabis too that I've been noticing more so like as I've grown up, right? Is that however you're feeling already is going to be slightly like amplified with cannabis, almost no matter what terpene profile is in the strain, and if it's a sativa, a hybrid, an indica. Like, say if you're in a really good spot spiritually, cannabis is going to, I would even almost say, enhance that, as long as you're using responsibly as an adult. By the way, I think that goes without saying, guys, obviously. But obviously, Savage Army knows, a lot of people get super weird when it comes to cannabis. It's almost like Jesus, super hated on for absolutely no reason. I think that's the first time I come up with that one. Sheesh, live on camera for you guys. But hated on for absolutely no reason, right? But nobody blinks an eye or bats or thinks twice about popping any pills that a doctor writes out a prescription for and says, hey, it's safe for you to go home and take something that's going to literally kill you 20 years quicker than if you never took it, right? Like Xanax, gabapentin, right? Neurontin, Vicodin, and not even just the scheduled substances, but all that stuff is made in a lab. Most of it is not made with any type of natural resource whatsoever. Like, whatsoever. So to sit there and think that so many people truly think that THC is the problem in the streets right now, it's just absolutely mind-blowing, guys. And this just goes to show you guys just another massive example, right, of the fact that anything that's good for the world and anything that's good for people in general gets slandered like nobody's business. And just take note of that, like, for the rest of your life. Notice when things like that happen, right? Because usually the thing that gets slandered the most is usually positive for the majority. Sheesh, we're cooking tonight in a live stream review. So, we got some stuff to take care of before I actually end up crashing tonight, guys. So, little rapid review here. Listen to the flavor on this, guys. And this is why I had to pick it up. By the way, I got this thing for an absolute steal, guys. A 1 gram eye crusher disposable from Clutch Cannabis. And I think it's fresh, too. It was packaged on June 18th, so it's literally like a month past the package. And these things can actually sit, surprisingly, these things can sit in the package for months on end without actually dipping too much in the quality, man. I've had Luster Pods, man, from Clutch that were a year past the package date and still smelled delicious when you opened it up for the first time. So they definitely last a whole heck of a lot longer in the package than something like flower, right? And that goes without saying, but for anybody that's new to the plant, right? Sometimes it's easy to forget, but some people start later in life with like converting to natural herbal remedies for their health and things of this nature, right? Instead of taking prescription medication and stuff that's made in a Dexter's laboratory, if that makes any type of sense, right? So when I talk about cannabis, I try to be more mindful, especially lately, to like represent what the experience is going to be for people who ain't experienced with it. Most of the time, we talk about cannabis in a way where it's kind of almost like I expect everybody to know a lot about it. But the more I find out, right, a lot of people are new to cannabis because of its recent legalization. That's what I was trying to get out, right? I just couldn't think of the right way to say it. A lot more people are new to the plant because of the recent legalization, and it's widespread amongst so many parts of the world right now. So you'd be surprised, guys, how many elderly people have come up to me or sent me a message or a DM or an email telling me that it's a blessing to do these reviews because they just got prescribed THC for a year, or whatever amount of time, right? They're suffering with this crazy terminal disease that's going to kill them at some point in time. And it took them so much courage. They were so anxious to get away from the doctor and to try something natural that grows out of the planet, right? and the videos like it helping certain people like that. And you'd be so surprised, right? When I worked at the dispensary, how many people that come in were old people. It was more than anybody else. You would think it's like a lot of young people coming into the cannabis store to buy weed, right? It's mostly old people, Savage Army. How crazy is that? When I first seen that, it kind of blew my mind, right? Because I'm sitting there thinking like, old people are usually like the harshest when it comes to marijuana. And you guys probably have the same exact experience, right? Like the people that hate on pot the most, it's usually like older people from past generations, right? So to see so many elderly people convert, it really like warmed my heart, if I'm being 100% honest, because I grew up my stepdad, right? Which was the closest thing to a father besides God the Father and Jesus Christ that I ever knew in my life, right? My relationship with marijuana really started with my stepdad, who's no longer with us. And Danny, rest in peace. If you were here right now, if Danny was here, my stepdad right now, bro, he would be tearing this cinnamon milk to absolute pieces, son. In the name of Jesus, he probably would have already smoked the entire 3.5. My stepdad used to be a literal savage, okay? We're the average savage, right? Just to be funny and cute, right, for a second. My stepdad was a savage, bro. He would sit there and roast down an eighth in one sitting out of a spoon pipe. Oh my, you might be like, well, what's so crazy about roasting an eighth in one sitting? That is kind of crazy. That's more leaning so like on abusing the plant, if I'm being honest. But back in the day when I was a little bit younger, I probably would have said something different, right? But what's crazy about roasting a whole 3.5 in a sitting, if it was papers, whatever, a blunt, sure, you can roll a 3.5 gram blunt easily, like super easily. If you get the wraps that don't have the tobacco in it, oh my goodness, you would have excess room even putting a 3.5 in that, right? But he would use a spoon pipe for the entire 3.5. God bless your heart, Dad. I mean, if you guys got a load of that guy, bro, she could have had his very own YouTube channel. If he got to smoke some of the weed that was on the market today, bro, oh my goodness. You think I'm high energy when I'm talking about pot? He'd be literally sitting there jumping up and down, Savage Army. Sometimes I would kill to smoke a joint with that man again, man. Just one joint, man. Drop it in the comments. Have you guys ever lost anybody in your life that was like your smoking partner, that you would just do absolutely anything to have them back for one more session? Well, that's a heck of a question, Savage Army. Drop it down in the comment section and let me know, man, before we hop out of here. But while I'm letting you guys do that, this is going to be the Lemon Slushy, which is a sativa dominant strain from Clizzity Clutch Cannabis. If you guys have never tried it before, it's really terpy, dude. Super delicious. For a sativa, it's actually quite unique because it tastes like grapes, bro. It's a cross of grape pie and Lemon G, which Lemon G is also a super iconic strain when it comes to Ohio's strain or lineup of genetics, excuse me. Lemon G by itself is gas, Savage Army. Absolute fire, son. I haven't had it in a really long period of time, but the terps on regular Lemon G are delectable. So, just to put it into context, Lemon Slushy, which is grape pie Lemon G, and it's crossed with something called Ice Cream Z. And it's basically kind of like spelled ice creams with a Z at the end of cream, right? I think, if I'm not mistaken, a couple of months ago, Clutch Cannabis put out a strain of flower called Ice Creams, but I can't remember the cross on it. I think it was some type of gelato cross, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody have to correct me in the comments if I'm wrong about that. They've dropped so many strains in the last, like, however many months that I've stopped doing reviews, that even though we did 2 of them last weekend and we're going to do another one tomorrow, there's still so many that I haven't tried yet, guys. I haven't even touched on the Josh D line yet, dude. The OG Kizzity Kush, Savage Army. The OG Kush was on sale when I was in there yesterday, and I was thinking about picking it up, but I'm really trying to stay, like, consistent and disciplined with only doing 2 reviews a week. That way we don't kind of get, like, overboard with it and start doing too many of them like I used to do, because it was just a little too much, Savage Army. I mean, especially when you're buying medical grade cannabis, the price of it is automatically more than it ever used to be before legalization, because you never used to have to pay state or federal tax to buy weed. You know what I mean? You would get taxed by the plug. A lot of people used to get taxed by plugs, right? But you would never have to pay a state or federal tax. So automatically and off the rip, you're already spending more money, if that makes any type of sense. Real quick, can't say I've lost my smoking buddy. Who, Belicious? God bless you, man. Can't say I've lost my smoking buddy. I know we've talked about our stepdads before a few times, man. My heart goes, yeah, absolutely, brother, and God bless you. I lost more than him, though, man. I lost him. He was my ultimate smoking buddy. But if I'm being real, and this is kind of sad sitting here thinking about it, but it is the reality, it is the truth. All the people that I used to smoke with growing up, and like, you always have that tight-knit circle of people that you're like used to smoking with, right? Every single one of those people are either not here anymore, rest in peace to every single one of their souls, and that's primarily, especially my stepdad, man. He was like the ultimate smoking partner for me, and he was really my best friend. He's the reason that I'm so passionate about cannabis, even still to this day. Even still to this day. It's really because of the seeds that he planted in my life, right? So we have no idea how much influence we truly have over other people's lives, you know what I mean? For anybody that really makes themselves believe that, you know, it's impossible to make a change in this world, no, it's not, man. It all starts with us individually, but we can't get caught up in like what other people are doing. You know what I mean? Just because not that many people are doing that doesn't mean it's not important for somebody to do it and some of us to do it. You know what I mean? And it has a butterfly effect. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of that, right? A ripple effect and a butterfly effect. When you do something positive and people see it, it makes other people want to do it. And then when they do it, other people want to do it. You see how that works, man? And it's an absolutely beautiful thing to see. But unfortunately, the same exact thing happens with negativity as well, guys. You know, when somebody sees somebody do something negative and get away with it, unfortunately, it kind of influences other people to think, hey, maybe I can do that too, and maybe I can get away with it. But, you know, people don't understand that nobody actually ever gets away with anything in this life. Sometimes it just takes a little bit of time to catch up with them. You know what I mean? Big sheesh. That OG Kush cut straight from the savage. Giggly Bush. Day One Savage, who Belicious. I'm not going to lie. There is absolutely zero chance that I'm going to wait too much longer to try that out. That almost, you know what? Let me be real. We almost didn't do this weekend. I'm glad I picked it up because I was going to be like thinking about trying it until I actually did anyway, so might as well just get it out of the way, right? But instead of this, I was actually going to pick up the OG Kush. So since we now tried this one, next weekend though, see, I'm thinking about doing certified cultivators because Day One Savage Austin shouted out they dropped some new stuff as well earlier this afternoon. And certified is really good, man. I've never really been too disappointed with anything from certified. In my opinion, I like Clutch's flower more for my own personal preference and certain specific reasons, right? Mostly because I feel like most of the flower that Clutch puts out has a certain level of smoothness to it that I really enjoy, especially because like I had like 3 or 4 lung surgeries, right, when I was a teenager. So my lungs already, I've had surgery on them twice a piece on each lung. So on flower, I'm really looking for the smoothest flower that I can possibly find, right? Which is also a reason that I use papers because it gives a much smoother experience than like bowls or glass or bongs or thing like that, Savage Army. You know what I mean? This is some savage lore for anybody that's new to the channel. But yeah, that OG Kush from the Josh D collaboration with Clutch. Oh my gosh. Oh my good gracious, guys. That's probably going to be coming next weekend. But I really do want to kind of diversify companies that we're covering. It's going to be Clutch. We never centered around one company in the past. The only reason that we're doing a lot of Clutch right now is because they've dropped so many different things since I stopped doing these reviews, Savage Army. I mean, I'm a nerd about this. I'm a connoisseur. I'm a critic, right? That's the only reason we could have done them for this long, even through all the stuff that we just went through in the last year. So when it comes to stuff like this, we get kind of pumped up and a little bit excited at the end of the day. And I still say it to this day, this is the only thing that I can think of, seriously, that still lights me up like a kid on Christmas as a grown man who's seen some really dark things and been through some really crazy things, right? for years and years and years and years and years. And because of God, I'm able to still move on without the trauma destroying my life, right? If that makes any type of sense. Cannabis, all these years later, still lights me up like a Christmas tree, guys. Still to this day. Video games don't necessarily hit the way they used to. Music, I used to love making music and listening and doing certain things like that. I get so passionate about this because it's been a big part of my life for so long. And it really has been a crazy great alternative to a lot of the things that these doctors have tried to abuse me with pretty much for the last like 15 years of my life, if that makes any type of sense, right? So we stopped messing with the doctor long ago, years ago, as soon as we went into rehab. And ever since I got clean from heroin, fentanyl, and alcohol and all those nasty things, man, cannabis has really served me well, man. And I'm just grateful, and all glory be to God for every single thing that He allows to grow here on this earth, and the things that it's crazy when you realize, guys, the Bible says, let thy medicine be thy food, and thy food thy medicine. And that's saying so much in such a short sentence, right? Let thy food be thy medicine, and thy medicine thy food. The Bible also says that every single herb and plant that grows on the earth was grown for the intended use of our food and our medicine, right? Cannabis was absolutely, from the beginning, intended to be medicinal for relieving certain ailments in human beings, right? Just like a lot of other things. When people ask me, why is cannabis so good for all these different things? My answer is usually something like this. I don't know why aloe vera cures a burn, right? I don't know. I don't know why aloe vera can cure a burn or poison ivy. Does that make any sense, Savage Army? All I know is that cannabis heals a lot of things and relieves a lot of things and a lot of people with nasty things. Absolutely terrible things that they're suffering with. Way worse stuff than I got going on. If that makes any type of sense, right? And if more people were using stuff like this, right? And people hate that I say this stuff, but I gotta keep it real, guys. I mean, we're here keeping it genuine, authentic, and absolutely real. Just because people love to hate on the plant doesn't mean that I'm gonna stand up here and hate on the plant. My experience with the plant is that it is quite possibly the best alternative to these pharmaceutical garbage pills, right? That they've got everybody taking and killing themselves with, for the most part. Even stuff like ibuprofen and aspirin is very bad for your body. Even that basic stuff, let alone prescription grade pharmaceutical pills and medication. I say that very lightly. If you just do what the Bible says, guys, that will work so much better for your health than you can possibly. This is coming from somebody who used to be sick with so many things, it would blow your mind. My skin used to be yellow. And before that, my lungs collapsed like 4 times each, right? My esophagus didn't work for almost 10 years straight until I almost died because I couldn't drink water for a month straight. My organs were failing me, shutting down. Told my mom in the hallway I was about to die, but I didn't. By the grace of God, Savage pulled through. And that was just one of many times that because of God, listen, He's undefeated. Absolutely undefeated. Undefeated, son. Straight up. It looks like I'm in the Lose Yourself music video right now. Big sheesh, guys. I'll tell you one thing about this cinnamon milk, though. Not like, I was disappointed with this stuff. We should have been standing up this entire time, man. I'm high energy. It's so hard for me to kind of like take things at a slower pace. I'm a high energy individual, Savage Army, and I think I'm just going to start owning that from now on. You know what I mean? That's how it's really been from the beginning anyway. I get super excited about stuff, man, and I love it. But anyway, the cinnamon milk, Savage Army, first and foremost, is miles ahead of that cereal milk. But it's miles beneath in some ways a lot of the other stuff that they've done. And dude, I wish, listen to me, I wish I could bring you guys in right now and smell this. The Versace with a Z, smack your mama and your dad. Smack your father delectable, guys. I mean, dude, that's loud, bro. I think that's probably out of everything I've tried in the last 2 weeks for the reviews, right? Which so far we're going on like 4. This one smells the most potent, right? This one is the loudest. That smells ridiculous, y'all. The Versace. Big sheesh. And I like the name as well, man. They swapped the S out with a Z. But what's funny about this is it's not a Z cross. It's not a Zittles cross. It's not a Skittles cross. Or however you want to say that. People want to get into these like heated arguments and debates about how you say Skittles. I've always said it like Zittles. Maybe that's not the correct way to say it, but if it's not, is the Z, why would the Z be silent? I feel like they named it that for an intentional reason for the Z to not be silent, but this is like a crazy conundrum in the cannabis community. How do you pronounce Skittles? It doesn't really matter, guys. When you say Zittles or Skittles, everybody should really know what strain you're talking about, if that makes any type of sense, because there's nothing that really even comes close to that name, not even close. But it's not a Z-Cross. That's what I'm meaning to say, right? It's not a Z-Cross. It's not crossed with Zittles. In fact, we'll get into this in tomorrow's live stream. But the two things that are crossed together to make this stuff, I've never even heard of. Not even that I've not just tried them. I haven't even heard of them. And the way that this smells, Savage Army. Let me go ahead and sit down. My cat's trying to trip me up. Matter of fact, hold up. She's escaping. I was going to show you my cat real quick. But anyway, Savage Army, it's crazy because I used to have dogs for years. Now I got a cat, big sheesh. And she hates the smell of marijuana, by the way. Oh my good gracious, man. The Versace smells stupid. I can't wait to try that stuff out. And honestly, man, one more time before we try this pen. Oh! Dude, the cinnamon milk smells dumb stupid as well. It was just like, the flavor didn't translate all that well. That's really all, man. But anyway, when it comes to this Eye Crusher disposable, the lemon slushy crossed with ice creams, the leading terp on this stuff, I'm not going to go ahead and explain all this, guys, because my mouth is so dry from that flower. Let me just show y'all. The leading terpene on this is almost 20 milligrams, dog. So that's pretty phenomenal, you know, for anybody that knows about terps and how to read it. So in milligrams, we have myrcene coming in at almost 20, and then the second terp is almost 20 as well, guys. Look at that. Linalool coming in at almost 18 milligrams. We got caryophyllene and bisabolol. Bisabolol, you also don't really see every single day in every strain. And as you guys can see right here, man, look at the specs here. Look at the separating and separate cannabinoids. Look at that. Normally, you don't see numbers like that, bro. When it comes to the THCV, the CBG, and the CBC, you really don't typically see numbers like that. It's really mostly just THC, the Delta 9. Obviously, there's no Delta 8 in this. I don't even know why they put that as an option. It's obviously not Delta 8. I didn't even think Delta 8 was a legitimate thing. I thought Delta 8 THC was like synthetic marijuana. And if that's the case, I don't know why they would put that on the package. I could be wrong about that, though. I don't know too much about other cannabinoids because I basically keep it with THC, Mary J, guys. The good old Mary J. So, this stuff was packaged pretty freshly as well. It was packaged at the tail end of June. So, let me go ahead and take a nasty swig of water, a filthy one, before we go ahead and rip that. Alright, Savage Army, real quick before we end this tonight, man. And by the way, if any of you guys enjoyed the stream, you already know what to do. Hit it with a big, fat, juicy, savage thumbs up. It really does help the algorithm push these sessions out to other people. YouTube doesn't really recommend these live stream sessions and reviews quite like my other content, because marijuana content is really hated upon on this platform. And to be honest, I was going to wait to talk to you guys about this, but later down the road, possibly towards the wintertime, if YouTube continues to be like that, which I kind of expect it to be, I've been doing this for a while and it really hasn't changed too much in the last 3 years, honestly, we might move the live stream sessions and the reviews to Twitch, to twitchtv.com. And I've never streamed on Twitch ever, and we'd have to build a little community for the sessions and the reviews from scratch over there. But for anybody that really likes to see these or cares about it, all you got to do is migrate over to Twitch TV. It's free just like YouTube, but the difference is they don't penalize you for smoking weed on the platform like YouTube does. YouTube lets you upload it, but it does not it will not benefit you literally whatsoever. Like to think that you're going to, like Dope as Yola and some of these big YouTubers that smoke weed, bro, if you have connections, it's one thing. You know what I'm saying? And like I've always said, if you have enough money in this world, you can almost achieve anything that you set your God-given mind to. That's plausible, right? That's realistic. If you're just coming up with stuff that's not even possible, obviously it's not going to happen. But to a certain degree on Earth, and this is why people get dark and they go towards the evil direction, because they want to live for, you know, the best feeling physically on Earth, and that's usually tied to money. So the love of money is the seed of evil in basically anybody and everybody, right? When you start going down that avenue, right? Oh my gosh. Sheesh. Savage Army, I've said it a million times. Oh, sheesh. I'm going to say it again. Sheesh, bro. That one got me. Okay? The full spectrum oil from Clutch is ridiculous, bro. That tasted, oh man. That tasted just like, honestly, dude, that tasted just like a joint of the lemon slushy, bro. I tasted a little bit of something else in there. I've never had the ice cream, so I don't know what it's supposed to taste like. Oh my gosh. That tastes super grapey. Oh my goodness, bro. Lemonade almost, like. The lemon slushy is gas, bro. That'll get you coughing. Give me a second, guys. Sheesh. Sheesh, bro. Coughing up a storm. This thing right here is absolutely ridiculous. It definitely tastes more like lemon slushy than absolutely anything else. And for anybody that's wondering, how does it taste? How do those strains kind of complement each other? What's the difference between each of them on their own as opposed to combining them? It's kind of hard for me to say because I've never had ice creams, you know what I mean? But I've had a lot of different like creamy gelato strains, ice cream cakes, and things that ice cream cake is crossed with. And I assume it's probably a similar profile on the palate and things of this nature, right? But overall, this is absolutely dumb stupid. I looked it up on the website earlier, and I'm pretty sure like overall for the concentrated terpene percentage, it's coming in at like 5%. And for people that know, you know, 5% terp, Savage certified, okay? That's a really good number for the terpene percentage, right? Just like for people that care about THC, 33%, 34, 35% on flower is a really Savage certified number for the THC, right? Oh, yeah. Milky one. Guys, that tastes phenomenal, man. Ooh, wee. But it definitely... That's some dang, cousin. Sheesh. Listen. These lungs ain't prepped up for pens. We primarily use flour. And that is absolutely dank city. Savage Army. Sheesh, bro. That tastes ridiculous. So, If you're a fan of lemon slushy or you're a fan of anything that's creamy, it really is kind of overridden with the lemon slushy flavor as opposed to the ice cream. I got to be real. But overall, for $22 is what I paid for this thing for a gram pen. This is absolutely about as good as a pen can get, in my humble opinion. And notice how it's not even live resin. Sheesh, dude. Listen to that. The lung expansion is crazy. It's not even live resin, guys. This is just regular full spectrum cannabis oil derived straight from the plant, right? As close to the plant as humanly possible. It's not even rosin, right? This is one of the best quality pens that money can buy. For $22, you can't even possibly go wrong with that, dude. One more for the road. Not the... One second, brother. Before we finish that. Okay? Peter 5:8, be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour. I'm very familiar with that scripture, my brother in Christ, and I'm very familiar with that verse. And if you read the scripture that pretenses that and after that in full context, you'll see that when it says to be sober, it's not talking about what you're thinking about, good sir. Because if that verse was talking about what you're thinking about, then we would have to apply that verse to caffeine, coffee, ibuprofen, any type of drug whatsoever. If you're going to apply that verse to that. The context of 1 Peter chapter 5 verse 8 goes like this. When it's talking about being sober-minded, it's talking about not reacting within your feelings and within your emotions, not leaning in on your own understanding, right? Just like Matthew says, the book of Matthew, Mark, and Luke says, right, from the mouth of Jesus himself, a man cannot possibly be defiled by the things that he puts inside his mouth. A man is defiled by the things that comes out of his mouth, right? Because the things that come out of the mouth are directly tied to the heart piece, okay? Sheesh, let's not make it a Bible study tonight, guys. That's Monday through Friday, okay? But anyway, okay? Big sheesh. All right, but God bless you, brother. And listen, it's great to have a conversation openly, an open conversation about this stuff, right? But this is a big reason why a lot of people have nothing to do with Jesus and they never want to, right? Because people make them think that that's what this walk is about, and it's not. When people see me hitting a vape, right, they absolutely lose their mind. They go freaking bananas. But they absolutely disregard every single thing that Jesus has done in my life. And because I haven't overcome something they see as something I shouldn't be doing, every single person that acts like that when they see me hitting a vape or roasting a J, right? Which we haven't done in months because I willingly put it down for how long, dude? Like 4 or 5 months straight, right? And they think that I'm addicted to marijuana. I haven't been addicted to anything in the last several years. I can't, let me put a number on it, brother. It's been like 7, 8 years straight, right? The only thing maybe I've been addicted to, right, is obviously nicotine. Because I have prayed and prayed and prayed and prayed and prayed and put it down, picked it up, put it down, picked it up, and went back and forth like that. This is the thorn in my side. But this is a great topic to discuss because, man, if people knew that this personal relationship with Jesus Christ, and you explain to them what this relationship genuinely consisted of, and genuinely what you have to do when you're on this walk, and that it's personal, one-on-one between you and God, right? More people would walk with Jesus Christ, man. More people would, they'd be moonwalking with Jesus, bruh. They'd be moonwalking with Jesus Christ, man. And I'm just being dead serious with them, you know? And the reason that I'm honest with you guys about what my flaws are is because I've come to realize something very quickly, right? It's not even worth it to try and act like somebody else. It's so much easier to be in that flow state when you're just being yourself, okay? It's free to do that. You know what I'm saying? And if you truly think that nobody on this planet or everybody or anybody is perfect, right? Jesus is the one and true perfect being, okay? We follow him because he is perfect. Not that he was, he still is. We serve a living God, okay? He came to die on the cross because we can't be. And people miss that. They tend to really start believing that they can be perfect. So while whoever has a problem with marijuana might not use marijuana, I would challenge that person to tell me openly and honestly what they do struggle with. Excuse me, the things that they do struggle with. And if they're actually honest about the fact that they struggle with something. Everybody struggles with something, right? The only difference between a Christian and people that don't practice the faith is that a Christian makes a mistake and understands they make a mistake because they have the Holy Spirit and they genuinely want to do better, right? Like Paul says, right? In 1st and 2nd Corinthians, like Paul says to God, the things I don't want to do, I do. The things I do want to do, I don't do. Who can save me from this body of death? Only the Lord Jesus Christ, right? That's pretty much how that scripture goes. And that's the reason that he was praying that to God. Because we're in the flesh. Even after you get the Holy Spirit is combating the flesh. It doesn't eliminate the flesh. You don't become just genuinely 100% holy and righteous. Only he is 100% holy and righteous, right? You're perfected through faith by grace. If that makes any type of sense. Grace, by definition, is undeserved forgiveness. We're turning it into a Bible study now, guys, and truly we're at 3 hours. We're already over the limit. So let me go ahead and wrap up comments here real quick. Big sheesh, man. Indica dominant, and it really is relaxing, the cinnamon milk, but you would figure that the cinnamon milk, you know, it's late evening, that it would kind of make you more tired. It doesn't really make you feel tired, right? It makes you feel relaxed in the body, like lighter on your feet, a little bit giggly, a little bit euphoric, right? There's not too much in the way of like dome piece effects, sativa effects non-existent here. It's really not giving you that. But for something that's coming in at 22% THC overall, to be honest, if it was stronger, I'd like it a little bit more. Because the effect that you get is actually quite pleasant. I got to be 100% real, right? But overall, for anybody that's just now joining, the cinnamon milk, wrong jar, sheesh. The cinnamon milk from Clutch Cannabis is an 8.5 out of 10 overall. Definitely an above average smoke. Definitely not the best thing that they have ever dropped in the Cookies collab or anything else that they've dropped. I've had some of the Habitat flower, to be real, which is like the affordable line that they just came out with not that long ago, like a year ago, right? I've had stuff in the Habitat line that actually had a little bit like higher level of terpene than this, just to put it into perspective. It's better than the cereal milk, but overall, I was still expecting something just a little bit more savage, if that makes any more sense, guys. But stay tuned tomorrow night, because we're going to be reviewing the Versace from the regular baseline Clutch line. And listen, man, never judge a book by its cover. But this stuff looks amazing, it smells amazing, and the keef on this stuff, bro, let's not even get into it. Go back and look at the short I just re-uploaded, I should say, earlier this morning. The finger, bro, the amount of keef on my finger, even though this stuff is so sticky, it's so sticky, but still, bro, it looked like I literally, like, licked my finger and dipped it in a container of keef, Savage Army. Big sheesh, okay? But anyway, we'll sit here and literally talk all night. I gotta get out of here, Savages. Sheesh. I love each and every single one of you guys from the bottom of my heart. Thank you guys so much for taking time out of your Saturday night to come on over here and kick it with the Savage here for a couple of hours. Roast on some Tippity Top Shelf Pack. It's so nice to be back to doing these, Savage Army. And as we continue to do these and get a little bit of that Savage rust off, bro, I haven't done these in such a long period of time. We're more used to doing Bible studies now and devotionals and spiritual growth and life coaching and all that type of stuff. So to be able to kind of wind down a little bit and do some more creative stuff, it's really a nice breath of fresh air. We'll just put it like that, right? And the stuff that I have planned for the channel going forward over the course of the next like month to 2 months for this ultimate plan that I've been trying to cook up, right? And obviously co-collaborating with the Holy Spirit on everything I'm doing, right? Everything's intentional. Even though people might have a problem with me preaching God and smoking, brother, I'm showing you what it really looks like to walk with God. I'm not standing up here trying to make it look like something that it's not, if that makes any type of sense, like the Pharisees did, right? I actually read the Bible. I've actually been tested by God. I've actually been delivered by God. I've actually been sanctified by God. And yeah, I got a thorn in my side. just like the Apostle Paul. Big sheesh. In the name of Jesus. And we're cooking. It's distillate by CO2 extraction. Holy Ghost grass, God bless you, brother. I should look at the chat more often, man. I don't know how long you've been in here, but thank you for stopping by this Saturday evening and joining the stream. If you're wondering, bro, the cookies cinnamon milk got an 8.5 out of 10. A little bit disappointed by it. And listen, they compete with themselves. So in terms of just regular weed, right? This stuff was some really good weed. I mean, it was decent weed. It's not bad weed by any stretch of the imagination. But I guarantee you guys, this stuff is going to blow the cinnamon milk out of the water. I can just tell. I'd be really surprised if that stuff doesn't end up smoking absolutely stupid. So, I'm excited for that tomorrow night, guys. Stay tuned for it. I'll let you guys know tomorrow morning what time we're going to be going live, so stay tuned for that as well. I pray each and every single one of you guys have an absolutely blessed and amazing and phenomenal rest of your night. Don't forget to pray to the Most High and Jesus before you go to bed. Talk to Him about your plans, what your goals are, anything you need Him to help you with, the things you're struggling with, the things you're worried about, concerned about, or just anything in general, things that you're wondering about. Wisdom. Asking for wisdom from the Most High. Just make sure that you're talking to Him and making Him a priority, Savage Army. Just doing that alone is going to have such a crazy ripple effect in your life. You have no idea. I'm being dead serious, guys. I'm being dead serious. But anyway, we're not going to beat anybody over the head. I love each and every single one of you guys so much, man, from the bottom of my heart. And on that note, man, keep it in the light and with the Lord Jesus Christ and the Holy and Heavenly Father. Stay blessed, beautiful, sexy, and absolutely savage. And I'll see you guys tomorrow night in the next one, man. Peace. Peace.